Good evening, everybody. We're going to be back to Rogue Trader tonight. I have a slight, I don't know, there's like a little bit of a glitch in terms of Twitch. This is largely my stubbornness, but I am nothing if not principled. So I don't know if there was a change to Twitch or something has affected my logins. But basically, I'm not able to sign into Twitch using my browser of choice. I have a feeling that this may actually just be related to the fact that the browser that I use does have some like privacy features, and so it's possible that they. Let me just see if I can find. Um, okay, I'm not as limited in features as I thought I was. But yeah, so I can view the stream through my streaming um my streaming uh like software, and I can open up the app to um I can open up the app to do moderation and things like that. But my access to the actual Twitch dashboard until that gets resolved, I just have fewer sort of maintenance features. Moderation's still there because I can do that in the streaming app itself, but the actual just the conveniences of using the website are not available to me right now. Excuse me. I don't think it should affect too much, but I just kind of wanted to be upfront on it. If it takes me a little longer to react to stuff or otherwise manage it, it's probably that. I think I have two options. I think if I use my laptop, probably I'd probably be okay there. And then I suspect if I use Edge, that would work as well. But again, I think one of the things is because what I'm detecting is the likely reason for this is the privacy settings for the browser that I use. Switching to a browser which does not have those features strikes me as giving a bit too much to Twitch, which is already taking half of my revenue. And frankly, I really would rather not give them like additional marketing material. They already kind of use this as an opportunity to sell me stuff when I'm generating content for their platform. So that's why I'm being a bit stubborn about it. But if it does get in the way of people being able to enjoy the broadcast, obviously I'll see if I can find another way around it. I did hit play on the game, by the way. I'm just waiting for it to load. So I have played a little bit of this game on my own time. We did get past the prologue on Friday. So, oh, by the way, I did get nothing's for sure, but I did get an indicator that there might be something that kind of throws me off this game for a little bit. So there's a couple things that I want to do. One, I want to try and work some Zephon into the the stream rotation. So that's one priority. I want to focus on opportunities as they come up, which potentially means something other than this. But I do also want to make progress on this game. So whether this gets turned into a Friday game or I find some better way of balancing this, I'm not sure. But I just want to prep. I'll try and find good places to I'll try and find some good places to gate some of the story. But I did just want to be clear that it's more likely than not that I'm going to have to do this in chunks. All right, so let's load this in. But like I said, we got past the prologue, so as you can see through the saves, I have done a little bit of the main game. I'm definitely not great at the combat, and so I have a feeling there may be a bit of reloading and such. But I do want to do a lot of the story stuff. The other thing is that when I play on my own, if I feel like I'm getting into material I haven't seen before, which I'm not there yet, I don't really want to put extra time into... I don't want to put that extra time into... I don't know, I'd rather not know the consequences for decisions before they're ready, so... we are now the new Rouge Trader, and we're going to learn about my crew. Voxmaster Vigdis. A thin, pale woman stands out among the rest of the crew. There is a thick bundle of cables coming out of the back of her skull and disappearing under her ceremonial garment, and you see the grate of a quietly humming Vox where her mouth should be. The woman sees you and bows her head in a respectful greeting. How may I serve you, Lord Captain? What are the Voxmaster's duties? I am the ears and the voice of this void ship. I supervise several dozen officers and 3 times that number of support personnel. We receive, send, encrypt, and decode all incoming and outgoing messages through the ship's internal and external channels. And we also ensure clean communications and the optimal efficiency of the crew's Voxcasters. If you ever want to know what worries and concerns your crew are harboring, what your subjects are whispering about in the local networks after their watches, and what their leaders are clamoring about over shortwave Vox transmissions, just come and see me. I will satisfy your curiosity. Have the Vox spirits brought you anything interesting lately? Forgive me, Lord Captain. I have no information that would be of interest to you at this moment. Your appearance is unique. You are a Voidborn, are you not? My appearance comes from my heritage, generation after generation of people who spent their entire lives in the depths of this void ship. Neither we nor our ancestors have ever left our home, but the same can be said about many denizens of the Imperium's million worlds. We are used to the silence of the cosmos and the voices of the ship. There are thousands of us, but we dwell far from the Lord Captain's upper decks and remain unseen. We are the Voidborn. Where does the word Voidborn come from? Because we are the children born in the void between the stars, be it the womb of a traveling vessel, an orbital satellite, or a forgotten asteroid station. Low gravity, voyages through the warp, and countless dangers of space travel. Everything others hate and dread is second nature to us. Tell me about the lives of the Voidborn in my crew. To us, the groans, creaks, and murmurs of the ship sound the way babbling brooks and singing birds do to world-dwellers. We hear the ship breathe, know what it is feeling and thinking. We are a part of the ship, just like it is part of us. We perform numerous functions, and there are many officers among our number. Some maintain order and prevent mutiny, others serve as shepherds and support the crew, and some devote themselves to mending the body and spirit of the vessel. Most of the Voidborn are members of large void ship dynasties that bear responsibility for a certain aspect of the ship's life. For 300 years, the main branch of the Ptoleman dynasty has produced the ship's Voxmasters, and most of our subordinates come from the cadet houses of the dynasty. How do you find life on the ship? Life has been quite generous to me, Lord Captain. I am the Voxmaster, and only the best in the dynasty can become one. By virtue of my skills and position, no one has ever denied me anything. Our family claims a spacious section for its demesne. I also enjoy long walks through the narrow and dimly lit corridors of the ship, listening to the sounds of her activity, falling asleep and waking up to the chanting of hymns, and admiring the stars beyond, of course. How do others on the ship treat you? We look, speak, and move differently from the inhabitants of the planetary worlds. Our way of life, traditions, and quirks frighten these people, just as the darkness of the cosmos. Many believe us to be the bringers of ill fortune, and alas, it is the Voidborn who get the blame for terrible warp phenomena during longer voyages. Vigdis hesitates before continuing. Several years on, an unfortunate warp jump caused the food on board to spoil. 15 days later, a hungry and furious crew nearly massacred everyone on the lower decks, blaming us for the misfortune and hoping to restock the larders with our flesh. I would have been killed during the mutiny had Adira Tlass not shown up in the right place at the right time. She came to my rescue, and the scoundrels' fear of her was even greater than their fear of the Voidborn. Looks like you were close friends with Adira. Webs of tiny wrinkles appear in the corners of Vigdis's eyes, the only hint that the Voxmaster is smiling. The Voidborn seldom make friends, especially among the captain's entourage, but you see many consider Adira to be different. I am different too. We've spent plenty of time in each other's company, discussing regicide over a glass of Amasek. Regicide, a human tabletop game played across the Imperium of Man, similar to the ancient Terran game of chess. Amasek, a potent alcoholic drink of varying quality, widely available across the Imperium. Except Adira changed after one incident, and we started to drift apart. The death of Lord Captain Theodora made her withdraw even more. I do not know if Adira considers me her friend now, but we used to be very, very close. It is good I can still look after her, in my own way. Interpreting the Voxmaster's emotions based on a half-face and a Vox-modulated voice is no easy task, but you manage to catch the undercurrent in Vigdis's words. The Voxmaster is not merely saddened by her rift with Adira, she is devastated by it. Have you ever left the ship? Oh, I did once, and it was dreadful. It felt like the massive blue dome overhead could shatter at any moment and fall, and my bones would be crushed by the gravity. Vigdis twitches her shoulders, trying to ward off the flood of memories. The ship is my home, Lord Captain, and I would not trade it even for a bounty of 100 worlds. See, let us return to business. As you wish, Lord Captain. Connect me to the vessel's main channel. I wish to bolster the morale of my crew. The Voxmaster nods obediently and presses several switches on the device she is holding. It is done, Lord Captain. You address the crew with a rousing speech and hear your voice roll through the ship, reaching even the normally quiet corners of the vessel. When the broadcast ends, you hear distant shouts of approval. That will be all for now. I live to serve, Lord Captain. All right. So one of the challenges I sometimes run into these games with these games is finding which characters I need to talk to, and then on top of that, sort of knowing where to go. So like I kind of want to do all the dialogue, but I mean it's going to take some time. But we'll go. I think there's a couple of dead ends here, so we might as well take a peek at what we've got here, and then we'll go back and talk to Abelard. Heinrich Montag. The Infernus Master nonchalantly lights an IO stick from a thermal cutter and spreads his arms in a welcoming gesture. Heinrich Montag, at your service. He smells of cinders and EHO, a common form of recreational stimulant that consists of a rolled paper stuffed with a plant-derived substance. When lit, the substance emits smoke that is inhaled through the tube. But it's definitely not tobacco. His face is sooty, and his belt is laden with a number of heavy tools. You would have taken him for a laborer if it weren't for the greasy and ragged officer's uniform. How have you come to be in the service of the von Valancius dynasty? Or dynasty. They pronounce it dynasty in here. I don't know. The Canadians always funny. We don't want to always be like the Americans, but sometimes we do it other than the British. Maybe we should do it the French way. Not the usual way. My ancestors wronged yours and were appointed Inferni as a result. Hard labor, deadly risks, plenty of opportunities to atone. Those criminals have been dead for generations, but we are still serving their time. Maybe we'll find redemption one day. I hear that you too have had to deal with injustice and bad-mouthing in your time. I hope people will stop judging you for your past mistakes in less than a couple of centuries. Heinrich gives you a sympathetic smile. You suffered shame and humiliation sometime in your distant past. Tell me more about the Infernus Guild. What interests you the most? Our duty, our state-of-the-art equipment, or our vibrant traditions? How's the guild organized? The Infernus service is split into different brigades according to duties. The heart of the guild are, of course, our liquidators, tough guys with nerves of steel who put out fires and pull people from the flames. Others are repairmen, dealing with problems like jammed doors, fuel links, or broken vents. And then there's the walking inspectors, who check the decks to make sure that nothing is blocking any passages or access to communication lines. State-of-the-art equipment? That sounds interesting. The Furnace Master smiles guiltily. That was a bit of a stretch. I'm sorry. There's no state-of-the-art equipment. The risks of ruining it in a fire are too great. We get by using human resources and the most common items available. Respirators, fire extinguishers, and flame-retardant uniforms. Let's face it, the lives of the Inferni are not worth much. It's more important that we save the machines and minimize damage to the ship. What are your traditions? We have plenty of those, like the reminders. Heinrich rolls up his sleeve, revealing a tattoo inscribed over an old burn mark. When you survive a particularly hopeless accident, you get a tattoo on your scar. You can always tell an experienced Infernus by their ink. It's like a badge of honor of sorts. Tell me how you got your reminders. He points to a tattoo on his right forearm. This one is from the time plasma leaked from the outer aft circuit. Imagine yourself clinging to the hull outside, thermal cutter in one hand and a magnetic clamp on the other. Azure flames burst from the breach, the kind that can incinerate you in a second. All that separates you from death is a flimsy rope and a void suit more ancient than Holy Terra. And yet, the price I paid was nothing compared to my comrades. He slowly moves the augmented fingers of his right hand. Holy Terra, the throne world of the Imperium of Man and the original homeworld of humanity and the God Emperor. Terra is the slow-beating heart of human civilization. It's Sanctum Sanctorum, and the capital of the Imperium that has become a legend for most people in the galaxy. It is ruled by the priesthood of Earth, the Adeptus Terra, where the High Lords pass proclamations that touch the lives of, untold millions of worlds. Augmentation, a mechanical or electronic cybernetic substitute for biological limbs or organs. Replacements for damaged or diseased parts of the bodies, which improve on the abilities and powers of the human body, and even extend life. All members of the Adeptus Mechanicus replace their impure flesh with sacred technology, but for most others a bionic replacement is more often a necessity due to injury or occupation. As for this one, the look he directs at his left hand is full of bitterness. I got this one in the ammo depot where my life Elsinora died. There was a fire and the flames were getting close to the ammunition. And I don't mean autogun rounds. These were macro cannon shells. A type of void ship weapon generally mounted on the sides of the dorsal section. When fired, macro cannons launch several salvos against the same target. The section of the void ship where dorsal mounted weapons can be installed. Well, thanks. We put out the fire as best as we could, but we were losing. Suddenly, Elsie took my hand, kissed me, and then she ran straight into the blaze and activated the emergency blast door. We stayed outside while she vented the compartment. Heinrich gives a tender smile, gazing at the smoke. It was quite a story. I'm sorry for your loss, Heinrich. He nods gratefully and takes another puff. I've learned all I need. That's enough for now, Heinrich. Never let your fire go out, Lord Captain. I mean, no. Heinrich hurriedly waves his hands. It's just a stupid little in-guild joke. Seriously, if you see an Infernus next to a naked flame, run. Okay, I'll probably talk to the Master Helmsman next. But as always, doesn't hurt to just see if there's anything new. I would be interested in knowing if people mind these sort of extended... Oh, yes, also Argenta wanted to talk. I personally am not that bothered by doing... But yeah, I don't mind doing a lot of story-based stuff, but I don't know if that's a general feeling or not. So let me know if there's a little bit too much jaw. Master Helmsman Ravor. The tall man before you appears to be woven from tendons and muscle. Blue veins snake under his white, almost dove-colored skin, and his scalp and chin are covered in cropped white hair. His neck and shoulders are wrapped in wires that hint at the presence of neural connectors under his uniform. The officer's face seems to be twisted in a perpetual grimace of annoyance and anger, but he greets you with a respectful nod. Lord Captain, Master Helmsman Ravor at your service. You are Voidborn, are you not? That I am, born into the Helmsman clan in the bowels of the Charist vessel. Studied the family trade until I was 15, then my entire clan was butchered in a mutiny by lower-hold scum. They spared the young'uns. Of course they did. Kids with implanted connections make great navigational servitors. But I was having none of it. They weren't going to make a servitor out of me, so I escaped into the crawlways. And then I spent months picking them off, one after the other. Ravor stops abruptly. You got me talking up a storm. Anyway, yes, I'm a Voidborn. Finish your story, Ravor. Ravor stays silent for a few seconds. Not much to tell. I gutted everyone I could get to and then fled upward to the middle decks. That's where the augur operators took me under their wing. They have apprentice helmsmen of their own up there, you see. Nobody asked me any questions, so I stayed. I grew up, trained, got smarter, then ended up a junior helmsman. A dozen years later, Danrock spotted me and lured me away, the cheeky blighter. Tell me about the Voidborn. Ravor winces and rubs his temple. Lord Captain, I mean no disrespect, but you'd do better to find someone with a knack for conversation like Ptolemy or the new Voxmaster. I ain't the talking type. I just let the ship get the ship where she needs to go. Best let folks stick to what they do best. What can you tell me about the other officers? Good-for-nothing wasters, that's what they are. Each and every one. Take generous Danrock, that high-born weasel. He fawns over the officers, but some of the deals he makes will get them burned alive. He drags other people into his schemes so they can take the fall for him, too. One of my junior helmsmen was ferrying goods from Footfall for him, got caught by the Seneschal, and ended up in the Void Hatch. Danrock couldn't care less. The Voxmaster, another Ptolemy like the last one, Void Restum, is no better. She cut off half the Vox channels the day she took up her post, said the Vox systems were damaged, and the Engineerium had no contact with the other modules. But how am I supposed to steer the ship? Collect the cogs reports with the power of my mind? First Officer Wersarian. I can't stand him. Like every Navy officer I ever met, he doesn't know the first thing about controlling a vessel in the void, but he puffs himself up with all the same and throws his weight around. Me and him had to have a few words a few times before he left me alone. Thank the Emperor, Lady Theodora trusted me more than the Seneschal when it came to helming a void ship. Then there's that woman. What's her name? Class? Lady Theodora brought her along wherever she went, and look what happened to her. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out that that witch delivered her to an early grave, just like countless souls before. I don't see why anyone would want that walking calamity on their ship, but some would disagree. They say she's friends with young Ptolemy, you know, or at least she used to be. An exhaustive answer. Ain't got a better one, Lord Captain. I must take my leave. Lord Captain? Ravor acknowledges you with a nod and turns away. Hello, Vanguard Master. How you doing?
Rogue trader.
Sister Argenta looks tired. There are dark circles under her eyes. Her hair is somewhat disheveled, and she moves like she's a little on edge. Oh, good to hear. Tell me about the Adeptus Sororitas.
Gladly. There are none more faithful to the God Emperor than my sisters. We fight against his enemies by the will of the Holy Ecclesiarchy. I beg your pardon, Rogue Trader. Here I am talking about what every lesser noble in the Imperium knows. So what exactly are you interested in hearing about?
The Adeptus Ministorum, the religious body of the Imperium, also known as the Ecclesiarchy, which venerates and promotes the worship of the Emperor of Mankind. It guides the worship of trillions of people on numberless worlds across the vast divides of the void. The core of the Ecclesiarchy's power is the cult Imperialis, also known as the Imperial Creed. Any deviance from its strictures and theology is considered heresy and brutally suppressed. I think there's a couple of these which I've wound up repeating. I'll try to keep that to a minimum, but basically, if it doesn't come to mind immediately, we'll probably have some duplicates. Ah, neat. They say the Adeptus Sororitas are the fiercest in their faith among the warriors of the Imperium. Is it true?
It is. The Sisters of Battle are a fire lit by the God Emperor. They are the echo of his voice that travels through the dark expanses of the universe. We bring his wrath to heretics, mutants, and other enemies of humanity. We protect the faithful from the unholy and unhallowed. Sometimes with words, more often than not with a bolter.
The Adeptus Sororitas, the devout warriors who serve as the militant arm of the Adeptus Ministorum. Also known as the Sisters of Battle, the warriors of the Adeptus Sororitas believe their faith to be a weapon far stronger than any steel. They strike their foes down with the holy trinity of Bolter, Flamer, and Melta, fearlessly striding into battle, chanting hymns of praise, and calling upon the Emperor to aid them. Are all sisters truly as faultless as you say?
Even the novices of the Adeptus Sororitas are drawn from among the most worthy. Those who have taken the vows and become a full-fledged sister are the best of the best, tested by trials of body and spirit. Yes, there have been cases when a sister stumbled or showed weakness, but do not expect to hear a story of depravity or downfall from me. Each such occurrence is a great tragedy for us all. Light cannot bear the smallest speck of darkness within. And thus those who have trespassed or shown weakness of spirit are given a chance at redemption. They are called Sisters Repentia, and may the enemy tremble before her, for nothing can stop a sister of battle who yearns to be cleansed of fault and weakness. Wearing nothing but robes, no armor, eviscerator in hand, those sisters who have once faltered find repentance on the battlefield. Their lives are seldom long, but a death in the name of purgation is a better fate than to live with a shadow in one's soul.
No armor, you say? I got 34 great reasons why we want to meet a Sister Repentia. What order are you from?
Once I had completed my novitiate, I was sent to the Calixian branch of the Order of Our Martyred Lady, assigned to the Orders Pronatus. The Order's mission is vital and noble. The Sisters Pronatus protect great relics of the Imperium. We guard them, preserve them, escort them when they are brought onto the battlefield or presented for pilgrims to venerate. And we seek out the relics that have been lost. Neither a coven of heretics nor the most wicked death world can deter Sisters Pronatus when their goal is to return a piece of the great legacy of the Imperium into the hands of the faithful.
The Order Pronatus is not one of the Order's militant, and yet you are a trained fighter.
Don't let the name deceive you. The Order's militant trains sisters to march onto the battlefield as an army. That does not make sisters who belong to the non-militant orders timid and helpless. Both the solace-bringing Sisters Hospitaller and the enlightened Sisters Dialogus know how to greet enemies of humanity. Their dialogue with heretics is usually quite short, with the last word being a bolter discharge.
You could have made it punctuation.
And my order has all the more reason to be known for the martial prowess of its sisters. We are the keepers of the Imperium's relics. What would become of our blessed hero's legacy if the Sisters Pronatus could not protect it?
You said you belonged to the Calaxian branch of your order. What brought you to the Coronus Expanse?
The Order sent me to Footfall. My undertaking was to assist the local priesthood of Drusians in caring for a sacred reliquary that had been there since the time of Parson Mr. Wayne, the station's founder.
Footfall, the massive void port on the edge of the Coronus Expanse, and a notorious hotbed of vice, trade, and rogue trader intrigue. For rogue traders and their agents, Footfall has many uses beyond those of a simple port. They come here to learn about competing interests, find an array of illegal services, gather new recruits, or participate in deadly intrigues. It is also a place where a vessel can take refuge to refit and repair damage. The Drusians, followers of the cult of St. Drusus, a legendary hero of the Angevin Crusade who founded the Calixis sector for the Imperium of Man. The Drusians believe in continuing mankind's crusade and bringing new worlds into the Imperium's fold. They value asceticism, self-sacrifice, loyalty to the cause, and fearlessness, just as their patron saint once did. Are there any other members of the Adeptus Sororitas in the Coronus Expanse?
None that I'm aware of, but the Sisterhood's orders are many, and can operate independently of one another, sending their sisters wherever their presence is needed as deemed by the Ecclesiarchy. Perhaps somewhere in the Lord Inquisitor's retinue, may his path be blessed, my sisters perform their duty as we speak. I wish it were so. Even a single evening spent in joint prayer and training would bring me joy.
The Inquisition, the secret organization tasked with hunting down the myriad threats to the stability of the Imperium and all mankind. The Inquisition uses any and all means to exterminate the corruption caused by the forces of chaos, heretics, mutants, or aliens. Any of the Imperium's many fighting forces may be pressed into the service of an Inquisitor. The greater the perceived threat to humanity, the greater are the forces gathered to fight it. I have no more questions about the Sisterhood.
Should any more arise, keeping them to yourself would be imprudent. It is a virtue to take an interest in holiness.
Tell me about yourself.
About me? I am the Emperor's daughter and his servant. What else is there to tell about me?
How did you end up on Theodora's ship?
I first came here when I found myself in need of passage from Footfall to a remote planet. But I imagine what interests you is not that first journey, but rather what brought me aboard prior to the cultist attack. That story is complicated. It just so happened that
She stops short.
I made a mistake. In a moment of laxity, I was ambushed by the accursed followers of the archenemy. I was badly wounded. Lady Theodora came to my aid and brought me aboard her ship, where crew attended to me in my weakened state. It all happened not too long ago. I had barely recovered from my wounds when the cultists struck. Truly, the servants of evil know no rest. There is no place where we can be safe from their machinations.
Chaos, a malign metaphysical force composed of psychic energy that exists in an alternate dimension known as the Warp. The gods of chaos are monstrous beings weaved from mortal obsessions and fears. These ancient entities of unimaginable power and infinite malice endlessly seek to burst into real space and lay ruin to it and its inhabitants. Is it difficult for you to accept that you made a mistake?
It happens even to the best of us. My mistakes are my burden to bear. I'll find a way to atone for them.
Where did this happen?
On one of the recently discovered planets in the Expanse. No one suspected that it had already been tainted by the filth of heresy. Had I known it beforehand, of course I would have been on my guard.
What happened to the people who wounded you? Did Theodora's men eliminate them?
Sadly, they did not. Lady Theodora was in a hurry and chose not to stay on the planet. Her people took me to a ship while I was unconscious, and when I came to my senses, we were already flying away. How I pray to come face to face with those heretics once more, and it's bound to happen someday.
We could go to that planet and deal with the Chaos Worshippers.
The path to that planet was lost. All the knowledge is gone, along with the previous navigator. It would take immense effort and resources to rediscover the route. The heir to the von Valanci's protectorate must have plenty of other issues to deal with right now. Perhaps later, when the skies above our heads have cleared.
What was it like traveling on Theodora's ship?
I hadn't been here that long. Just one journey from Footfall, and the other journey, the majority of which I spent in the confines of the medbay. I can't tell you much about the first voyage. I was more focused on prayers and ruminations than on the people around me, or the journey itself. During the last journey, Seneschal Viserion stood out for me. He came by several times to ask about my health. He's an honorable man and a loyal servant of the Imperium. I think he is as meticulous in his inspections of the logistics systems as he is in his inquiries about the health of the occasional sister of battle aboard the ship. But not all of Theodora's people have earned my trust. You know who I'm talking about. There is no place for Idira Tlas among the God Emperor's faithful. I'm surprised she wasn't in league with the cultists. And I'm equally surprised by how deep heresy and treason run in this place. I'm glad we all made it through that dark hour. May the day that follows be bright.
I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
As you wish.
What is it that's keeping you in my retinue?
The ship was targeted by heretics, which means that my presence here and the assistance I provide to you are my sacred duty. Sooner or later, I will likely have to return to Footfall to protect its reliquary. But for now, I wish to remain a part of the Rogue Trader's crew.
It pleases me to have a servant of the Golden Throne in my crew. May the enemies of the Imperium tremble before our onslaught.
So they shall.
You said you have a personal request for me.
I indeed have a request, Rogue Trader. The accursed servants of Chaos who assaulted this ship took the lives of your loyal crew members, and they orphaned many children, including the progeny of the brave officers who defended their posts until the bitter end. I don't know what customary practices there are for cases like this in Von Valancius territory, but in the world I'm familiar with, the children of such brave souls could expect to receive some special consideration. Perhaps the Rogue Trader could meet with the orphans?
I will meet with them. No formalities needed. These are the children of people who gave their lives for the Von Valancius dynasty. My consideration is the least that they deserve.
I will pass on your instructions. Thank you for taking my request to heart.
Idira Tlas is a Psyker diviner in the service of Rogue Trader Von Valancius. Daughter of a distant world and a product of a doctrine alien to the Imperium, she perceives the curse of sorcery as a gift she deserves, for only the most skilled and strong can endure the touch of the immaterium. Years of using her sorceress powers have cost both Idira's mind and soul dearly. With each passing day, her ability to keep the malignant forces under control weakens, and so the moment when the warp will devour the diviner without a trace creeps ever closer. Who knows if Idira will be able to come to terms with the inevitable, or if she will turn to other forbidden forces in search of salvation. The motley group of adolescents do not take their eyes off you, gazing at you as if you were a creature straight from a fairy tale. Our indefatigable sister has been keeping an eye on these pups. Abelard glances at the gathered children. It is hardly the Schola Progenium in here, but we have provided the orphans on our ship with adequate care and instruction. Schola Progenium, a division of the ecclesiarchy responsible for the upbringing, education, and training of orphans of those officers and nobles who have died in the service of the Imperium. Most children of the Schola Progenium grow up to serve the Adeptus Ministorum, become military leaders, or join the elite military. Particularly devout female students may be recruited to the militant orders of the Adeptus Sororitas. Those who display psychic aptitude, if they are strong enough in will, go on to receive further training as sanctioned psychers. Argenta is standing to the side of the group. At your approach, she perks up and announces, her voice ringing. Brave ones! The master of the ship has appeared before you, the one who guides it through the darkness of the universe by the Emperor's will. Greet your Lord Captain, the rogue trader of House Von Valancius. You notice the Infernus Master, Heinrich Montag, standing a few paces away from the orphans. He watches you with approval and bows respectfully when you meet his gaze. Infernus Master, do you serve as a teacher in your spare time? Not at all, your lordship. Just looking out for them. It's the Infernus way to help folks in trouble. It's our job, after all. So we chip in rations here and there and make sure nobody gives them a hard time. We take the older ones into the clan's care if they want. Many in the guild are not our family by blood, but by circumstance. Let me just see here. I am the rogue trader and lord captain of this ship's... I, the rogue trader and lord captain of this ship, speak to you now. Your parents gave their lives for a just cause and brought honor to the von Valancius banners and those of the Imperium. I am proud of them, and I believe that you will become their worthy heirs. The teenagers hang on your every word with bated breath. Only a few, and at the far end of the row, seem sullen and not particularly impressed by your speech. One of the scowling visitors with a thin scar across his face tosses his head back and says bitterly, "So what? Why should we care? Our friends and parents died in their dozens for you noble lot, and you just give us speeches." Argenta turns quickly to the boy. A flurry of emotions flashes in her dark eyes, like she wants to both calm him and scold him for his impudence. If you have things to say them without fear. I will listen. The boy smiles grimly. Doesn't matter what we say. It won't bring our parents back, and it won't change our fates either. We'll keep slaving away on this ship until we drop and die like our folks. Or worse. There are a few interesting ones here, but... I understand your grief and dismay. Your parents died. It's not an easy thing to go through. But they gave their lives for the truth, for the good of the whole ship, for the Imperium. Do not speak of their honorable fate with anger and disdain. You heard the rogue trader. His words carry the wisdom of the Imperium. It's hard to say whether or not your words have left an impression on the boy, but he nods slowly. Then he catches himself and gives you an awkward bow. Abelard gives a sign, and servants immediately emerge, carrying packaged treats with von Valancius emblazoned on the wrappers. It appears that the Seneschal came prepared for any contingency. Fire the t-shirt cannon! I don't know if they're supposed to be particle effects, but this is kind of funny. Argenta rubs her temple pensively. She smiles and offers a few more words of encouragement, then leaves the bay. She's got... Oh no, she's back. I don't know if we have any follow-up on that or if that's the...
Greetings.
Thank you for this conversation. Until next time. Yeah, we're done. Done that side quest.
Lord Captain?
Let's talk about things that may be useful to me as the rogue trader.
A noble aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you.
Outline the situation in the Coronis Expanse for me. What do I need to know and keep in mind?
This is a topic for an official briefing, not a casual conversation. But I will try to answer succinctly. And if you permit, in my own words... The Coronis Expanse is considerably removed from the heart of the Imperium. This means that local warp routes become useless within months. Established pathways are regularly subject to attacks from all kinds of rabble. And in the only major port, the Imperium's frigates find themselves moored alongside pirate vessels. Until recently, the Coronis Expanse could hardly have been called a region of the Imperium. The situation has changed with the arrival of the Lord Inquisitor, but not by much. This place operates under its own rules, you see. More radical, so to speak. But ones that allow for a non-standard approach where there is a promise of victory. The Coronis Expanse is considered rogue trader territory for a reason. Only rogue traders have sufficient military might, audacity, and the rights granted them by the warrant to survive the leap into the unexplored part of the Expanse, and in the event of a successful outcome, to hold on to whatever they manage to capture on the frontier.
Who are the main players I need to be aware of in the Coronis Expanse?
In the first instance, you should treat official representatives of the Imperium with respect. The Expanse may be on the fringes, but it still numbers among the territories of the Golden Throne. The arrival of the Lord Inquisitor has turned the Coronis Expanse into a less wild and uncontrolled region, to the regret of some individuals who had grown inured to the local lawlessness. Rogue traders such as yourself are also servants of the Imperium. They have been accorded special rights and powers. They wield immense authority within their territory, and they enjoy absolute respect in other parts of the Expanse. The most powerful of them are Kalagos Winterscale and Incendia Bastal Chorda. Tread carefully when dealing with either of them. If we are to speak of unclaimed territory, which is what Footfall is, among the scum that dwells on that handful of asteroids, there are 3 factions that wield considerable influence in the sector. The first is the Kazbalaka Mission, organized crime in its most primitive form. It holds sway over the Liege of Footfall, and has links to rogue trader Winterscale. The second faction is an offshoot of our shining ecclesiarchy, followers of St. Drusus. They are actively building their forces, and hold influence over rogue trader Chorda. And finally, the third faction, the Explorators, a wing of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are willing to die and kill for the secrets of the ancient technological heresies that are hidden among the stars of the Coronis Expanse.
The Kazbilika Mission, the footfall chapter of one of the most successful crime syndicates in the Imperium of Man, founded in the Calixis sector. The Kazbilika Mission negotiates beneficial long-term deals with rogue traders, privateers, pirates, and other treasure seekers, dealing in illicit goods for a cut of the profits. Its specialty is the cold trade of forbidden Xeno artifacts. We've already done the Drusians and the Adeptus Mechanicus, which we probably have done before, but the technological organization, also known as the Priesthood of Mars, which maintains, constructs, and honors the sacred technologies of humanity. The Adeptus Mechanicus devote themselves to the machine god, the Omnissiah, and the motive force, the source of all knowledge, the embodiment of wisdom, and the animus that empowers all. With elaborate rituals, mechanically augmented priests oversee the fabrication, maintenance, and repair of every device crafted by humanity. Conrad, our previous Master of Whispers, what can you tell me about his betrayal? What do you think he'll do next?
You know, Lord Captain, I am no admirer of fine art. But when we next find ourselves in a civilized port, with time to spare, I will promptly find an artist and commission a portrait of the individual to whom you refer, with a hole between the eyes. Conrad Voigtveer. That he committed his treachery and escaped with his life was an unforgivable oversight. We both served Lord Captain Theodora for many years, and we never saw eye to eye. He was brash. He was never afraid of assuming responsibility, and he willingly took on difficult tasks. I am loath to admit it, but the Von Valancius Protectorate continues to reap the fruits of his labors to this day. His service always garnered my respect. But everything else about him made me want to wring the neck of that two-faced snake. If you are taking comfort in the thought that we will hear no more of Conrad, prepare to be disappointed. You thwarted his plans, his meticulously plotted and nurtured treachery. He is sure to attempt to strike at you, and he will use his contacts and knowledge of the Protectorate to do so. The only question, Lord Captain, is whether you will be able to anticipate his next steps.
That is all for now.
As you wish, Lord Captain.
I'd like to know more about my seneschal.
As you wish, Lord Captain. What would you like to know?
Tell me about yourself. What were you before you became Theodora's seneschal?
I used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No, used to be is not quite right. It was not simply a job. It was my calling, the essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind, I am still an officer of the Imperium. I met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission where the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcement to the rogue traders' army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then, that after the mission's completion, I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy and join the rogue traders' personal council. It was a difficult choice for me, but I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force. One who had built a protectorate amidst the dangers and wildness of the Expanse.
Sorry, just having a quick snack. I just need a minute before I read a bit more. Leaving the Imperial Navy is far from easy. Why were you permitted to quit your post?
You could say there was no one among the naval command who was willing to impede the wishes of the rogue trader. To do so would be to risk their own position and their relationship with Theodora. Well, the Lord Captain possessed certain contacts in the Imperial Navy. Contacts which she used to request help during the conflict on the border world. And which enabled her to make me an offer that resulted in my joining her retinue. The Navis Imperialis is an ancient institution with its own mandates and muster lists. On occasion, in the heat of an official briefing, or an informal discussion, I violated those rules, determined to press my point. It is challenging to choose the words to accurately express my opinion on a situation or the actions of others that do not sound overly scathing or confrontational. Many in command were inclined to view my manner of speaking as unbefitting a person of my rank.
Do you have a family?
I am a widower. I am a father of 4, and if my information is not outdated, a grandfather of 11. My family lives on Dargonus. None of my children express any eagerness or aptitude for serving aboard ship, and I would hardly have insisted that they follow in my footsteps.
Thank you. I have no more questions.
Of course.
I must take my leave. Until next time, Seneschal.
Lord Captain.
Jocasta Sauerback is the very picture of discipline. Her uniform is exquisitely pressed, her armor is polished, and her posture imposing and rigid. The only flaw in her immaculate appearance is the heavy enforcer's maul, which is worn and battered from frequent use. She salutes you with a practiced motion. Greetings, Lord Captain. How did you come to serve on my flagship? I come from the noble Sauerback family of the capital world of Dargonus. I dare say that our house is renowned for its loyalty and strict adherence to the law, and the members of my family have been your faithful enforcers for centuries. I am honored to be the 6th Master-at-Arms named Sauerback to serve on this ship. Jocasta speaks the word with unmistakable pride. Why are you here instead of basking in luxury on Dargonus? Because of my cousin, Macarius. A furious crease appears between her brows. I cannot stand him, but the feeling is mutual. We can hardly be in the same room together, so I jumped at the opportunity to become your enforcer. I should thank my obnoxious cousin for nudging me toward the best decision of my life. I serve you with all my heart and wish for no other fate than this one. You're wearing Imperial Navy armor. How did you come by it? I inherited it from the previous Master-at-Arms. Like the esteemed Seneschal, he left the Navy to serve Lady Theodora. He brought quite a few officers with him and established a tradition. Upon the death or resignation of an enforcer, his or her armor would be passed on to a fellow officer who had distinguished themselves in the course of their duties. I was awarded armor in this way in my time, and upon the death of my predecessor, I inherited his personal armor. What is your opinion of me as Lord Captain? I dare not form opinions about your lordship. That would be unforgivably brazen of me. My duty is to serve, not to evaluate. I want to know what you think about the other officers. I do not trust them, but I do not trust anyone. Mistress Tolliman has too much power and will surely be tempted to start deciding for herself what information to share with the crew on your behalf and what to withhold. Ravor is closely intertwined with the ship's systems, which opens up plenty of opportunities for sabotage. He must be watched. As for Danrock, forgive me, but a man of his size and habits cannot help but steal. What can you tell me about Abelard? The Seneschal is a model of competence and fidelity, and all the officers and enforcers look up to him with gratitude. A grimace of fierce devotion takes hold of Sauerback's face before she abruptly grits her teeth and continues. It's all the more distressing to see that the years have not been kind to the deeply respected Master Wersarian. Soon there will be no rejuvenant treatment that can save him from the mistakes inherent in such advanced age. But we are ever watchful, and will be there to steady the trembling hand of the honored veteran if need be. I want to know more about your service. I'm ready to answer any questions, Lord Captain. What are the Master-at-Arms' duties? I am responsible for upholding safety and order aboard the ship, guard duties, patrols, and finding and punishing troublemakers. In addition, my enforcers ensure that the crew follow all directives and carry out their tasks properly. As they say in my family, a servant who shows disobedience today prepares a riot tomorrow. There are thousands of people on board this vessel. How do you maintain order? 2 wards, Lord Captain: suppression and fear. The base nature of the rabble cries for an iron grip, lest they give to their animal urges. We have many well-tested measures to prevent it: random night searches, preventative interrogations, corporal punishment, and executions. Of course, the laws of the ship equally apply to the officers. We eradicate the canker of insubordination wherever we find it, without mercy. I hope you will not repeat the mistakes of the previous Master-at-Arms. You can be sure of that. He was a fine enforcer, but suffered from the fatal flaw of trusting his associates. I myself lack that weakness, and can trust no one except you, Lord Captain. Let's change the subject. Yes, Lord Captain. That is all for now. Proud to serve the dynasty. The corpulent man in lavish clothes bows before you, not without difficulty. The servo skull whirs over his shoulder, while the fingers of his augmented hand drum against a sheaf of papers he is holding, and he regards you with attentive interest through the lens of his magnifying implant. Greetings, your lordship. Janus Danrock at your service. High Spectorum Janus Danrock. I kind of want him to be the only one where it's like, remind me again what you do. No. How did you come to serve the von Valancius dynasty? I come from Dargonus, your lordship, and I have been a subject of your dynasty ever since... Let me try that again. I've been subject of your dynasty since birth, and have always strived to be of use to the great rogue trader. Alas, it was not my fate to be the primary heir of my own family, due to my being 15th in line for the title, so I decided not to stand in the way of those behind me in case they attempted to shorten the waiting list at my expense. Janus lets out an almost kindly chuckle. While my brothers and sisters schemed against one another, I studied the exact sciences and mastered bookkeeping, the greatest art of the Adeptus Administratum. I must admit that the accumulation of wealth, something one can control, is far more exciting than hunting, carousing, and the other traditional amusements of my noble peers. What was it like working with Theodora? Oh, that's a tricky question, your lordship. Do you ask it of everyone, knowing that they risk losing their head should they let slip a careless remark about your predecessor? I shall put it thus. Working with Lady Theodora was never boring and always profitable. The Imperium has billions of subjects, but very few do what they love and what they are best suited to. I would say Lady Theodora was one of the fortunate ones. She was a model rogue trader, and she surrounded herself with those who excelled at and loved their work. Hers was a rare talent indeed. I wish to know what you think of your fellow crew members. Keeping tabs on your subordinates, a wise move. Tell me who interests you, and I'll endeavor to be as honest as possible. Janris's eyes light up. He is obviously eager to speak his mind. Tell me what you think of Seneschal Abelard Wissarion. Lady Theodora managed to do what even the Imperial Navy could not, teach Master Wissarion to carry out orders that he fundamentally disagrees with. I do not know what methods she used, but the result is impressive. Having said that, there is something else you need to know, Lord Captain. Your Seneschal is capable of being something far greater than a mere conduit of your will. He possessed the cunning and experience to run the Protectorate passably whenever Lady Theodora was away, and that really is saying something. Keep an eye on that old officer, I say, or alternatively, turn him into a faithful ally. I'd like to hear your opinion on Conrad Voigtfear, the former Master of Whispers. I hope never to see him set foot on this vessel again, not even as a servitor. Although he would be able to do at least some good that way. Someone has to clean the latrines after all. The Factorum's bloated face grows stern. He gave us all quite a fright on that ill-fated day, Lord Captain, and still, to speak candidly, I never enjoyed Master Voigtfear's company, but I believed him to be a man who knew how to do his job. Regretfully, I was mistaken. It turned out Conrad lacked the most important quality for a Master of Whispers, unwavering loyalty to the rogue trader, and his failing came to light in the most deplorable manner. What do you have to say about Voxmaster Vigdis Ptolemy? Ah, yes, the Voidborn. You know, in my family, we used such creatures as quarry when we went hunting. Mutants are the bane of humanity, an unseen tumor that threatens to end us all. But I digress. In the brief time Ptolemy has spent in the post as Voxmaster, I have not noticed any significant flaws in her character or anything that would make me question her professional qualities. Needless to say, she is very diligent, as is any Voidborn seeking to earn their master's affection. I believe you can trust her in skills and loyalty. I wish to discuss something else. As you say, your lordship, I want to know more about the people who buy our plunder. Of course, Lord Captain. Who interests you exactly? We most often deal with the followers of St. Drusus, the Explorators, or the Casbalica Mission, or, Emperor forgives us, the Fellowship of the Void. What do the followers of St. Drusus acquire from us? The Drusians still hope to bring the Coronis Expanse into the warm embrace of the faith, just as their flock hopes to receive the aid of the Drusian missionaries. Each crate of food, shipment of clothes, or box of medicine marked with your seal is a sign the rogue trader himself believes in the sect's future success. Reverend Hieronymus is the first among the Drusians and is most often seen in Footfall's Grand Atrium. A gloomy fellow, but some almost believe him to be a saint. Tell me about the Explorators. Members of the Explorator Cognizance Fleet, which has been roaming the Coronis Expanse for a good while now. Omnissiah knows what they are hoping to find, but their acolytes regularly show up on inhabited worlds seeking out bits of sacred knowledge, tracking down mechanical relics, and sniffing out Xeno artifacts, if truth be told. Supposedly, they want to save the ignorant rabble from corruption. A tech priest named Opticon 22 does business with us on the fleet's behalf. He can be found at the docks on Footfall. I'm interested in the Casbalica mission. Masters of the cold trade, immoral criminals, and notorious crooks to the last man. The mission is but one branch of this mafia gang that has taken root in the Calixis sector. You can do business with them as long as you take the necessary precautions. They are led by Vladim Tokara, who recently appointed himself Liege of Footfall. Of course, he is a trusted ally of rogue trader Windscale, but he will not refuse you, another of the Emperor's anointed. If you wish to talk to Vladim, look for him in Liege's Palace on Footfall. I can't remember if I did the Calixis sector or not. An imperial sector located in the Segmentum Obscurus next to the frontier region of the Coronis Expanse. The Calixis sector has many heavily populated and important worlds, but it lies a great distance from the Imperium's core sectors. The sector's first imperial sector governor was Drusus, one of Angevin's most capable generals, a man now revered as a saint of the imperial cult. The Calixis sector is firmly bound to the frontier of the Coronis Expanse politically and logistically, since the only known route to the Expanse lies through the Coronis Passage, a stable but dangerous warp route that was established on the Rimworld border of the Calixis sector. What is the Fellowship of the Void? Janris emits a laugh-like gurgle. A pompous name, is it not? In truth, they're a gang of pirates who are forever squabbling over loot and territory. However, some of their little flotillas need supplies, or can take awkward cargo off our hands without asking questions. Of course, there is always the risk that these scoundrels will change their mind and attempt to board us instead, but so far our macro cannons have managed to keep them in line. They say Ryza Calvera speaks on the Fellowship's behalf. The Adeptus Amescus on Footfall is rumored to be her favorite haunt. Why are we giving our spoils away to these people in the first place? To profit from them, of course. Most of the things you will find during expeditions are complete junk to one such as yourself, but the less fortunate and affluent servants of the Emperor think them treasures, especially when they are bestowed by the great rogue trader himself. Drusian fanatics and pirate cutthroats, Casbalica dealers and explorators, none will refuse our help in these dark and trying times, and there may come a time when we shall be the ones requiring aid, and it would be beneficial to have allies willing to provide it. Enough questions for now. I shall return later. I shall await your instructions, Lord Captain. Okay, just bear with me a quick second here. I need to... first of all, I just pulled out my headphones. Okay, we're good there. I think we only have, it looks like Adira? I don't think there's anyone else. I think this, yeah. This is an exit, so we're not quite ready for that. The tall, middle-aged woman stares straight ahead, her eyes vacant, as she rubs the implant at her temple. Her collar is undone, and one of the clasps is on the verge of falling off. Sensing your presence, Adira turns her head toward you and offers you a crooked smile, even as her eyes look right through you. Adira, about your abilities.
What are you talking about, Lord Captain?
You are a Psyker. Psykers are only granted the right to live with the Emperor's blessing. Have you ever been to Terra?
Look, Lady Theodora couldn't care less if some eggheads measured my brains or not. It's not about the seal on your forehead, get it? It's about what's in your gut, if it's rotten or not. My gut's stronger than the adamantine on this here ship, and my implants are better than the ones they put in you on your Terra. If they weren't, I wouldn't have lived as long as I have.
Adira bares her teeth in a savage grin, a febrile gleam in her eye. She's like super heretic. Where do you come from?
Lyra, an outlying world in the Heathen Stars region. In the Coronis Expanse, the deeper you go, the less visible the Astronomicon gets, and the less people know about the Imperium. The arrival of a rogue trader is the best thing that can happen to a world like that. The very best.
Astronomicon, the psychic beacon that helps navigators to triangulate a course for their void ships through the warp. The Emperor himself projects the Astronomicon from the Golden Throne on Holy Terra, the homeworld of humanity. Over 1,000 Psykers are sacrificed every standard day to sustain the Emperor's psychic presence in the warp. Tell me about Lyra.
It's an out-of-the-way planetoid between two faint stars. On Lyra, a dozen local tyrants fight over 5 measly continents. But they use everything they can to win, from poison to psychers. I haven't been there in many years, but there's nothing for me to miss. Trust me.
Psyker, an individual of any intelligent species who possesses some degree of psychic ability or powers. All Psykers draw their powers from the extra-dimensional realm known as the Warp. As such, Psykers, particularly human ones, are often at risk of possession by demonic entities, insanity, and ultimate corruption by the ruinous powers.
But here on the ship is a different story altogether. I saw more wonders in my first year serving Lady von Valancius than I'd seen in my whole life on Lyra. Like my first journey through the warp, I was in bed for 3 days. I felt like supernovas were exploding in my head. I only found out later that I'd gotten off easy. Just through the bulkhead in the bay next to mine, a whole team turned into... Look at me rambling on, Lord Captain. Pay no attention.
You never finished your story about your first time crossing the warp.
It wasn't like it was a very fun trip, Lord Captain. But look, if you want to be entertained, I'm the woman for the job. I'll entertain you with one of the stories from my collection, no problem. But if you want to hear about the time I melted everyone in the bay next door, well, I just don't really want to go into the details on that one, all right?
What did you do before you came to be on the ship?
Oh, I embroidered wall hangings in honor of our national heroes. I did the same thing I do here, Lord Captain. Divining. Our rulers prized the ability to see into the future. Every psyker that could be found was worth a small fortune on Lyra. There's no such thing as a peaceful life on Lyra. People like me were especially sought after. They'd pick psychers up wherever they found them, buy kids off their parents, even just abduct them. Take me, for instance. I got taken from my street gang. The older kids sold me when they noticed there was something off about me. The ruling dynasties had schools where they trained us and beat us black and blue. And then they packed us off to serve. Some of us held on for a long time, but others didn't last. Not everyone's as smart and talented as me, you know. Some people crossed the line and were out of commission before their time.
Adira looks at you expectantly, then, as though clarifying, she uses her hand to indicate a head exploding and laughs. How did you end up in the Rogue Trader Service?
Theodora von Valancius paid a visit to the ruler I was serving at the time. I don't know what the visit was for, and it's no business of mine anyway. I can still remember the way the voices in my head changed when I looked at her. They were practically screaming. She had so much behind her, and plenty ahead of her too. And as I gawped at her, all of a sudden I heard a whisper. A hint, a suggestion, nothing more. But I know the difference between idle chatter and a real threat. I seized my chance and approached Theodora. I managed to whisper a couple of words in her ear before the wardens dragged me away. They beat me and locked me up. No wonder. It wasn't my place to converse with outsiders. And then Theodora's people came for me. They broke down the wall, butchered their guards. Also, I could tell them my warning in full. So I said the rest, but I didn't want to go back to my old life. And so I entered the service of the von Valancius dynasty.
Have you ever been off the ship?
A few times. Not many. And if I think about it, why would I want to? I've got everything I need here. All the whispers I hear are familiar ones. They almost feel like family. And if I want to hear about the nightmares off the ship, I can, after some Amisec. But don't go getting the wrong idea. If I have to, I'll follow you to the edge of the galaxy.
Let's talk about
Of course,
something else.
Lord Captain.
What's it like being a psyker?
Lord Captain, forgive me, but it would be like talking to a person born blind about colors. I could spend hours explaining, but it wouldn't make any sense to you. Every Psyker feels their connection with the warp in their own way. One person might see spots and shadows out of the corner of their eye. Another feels fingers running down their spine. As for me, I've got a door in my head. One that's open just a crack. There's no way to close it, no matter how hard I try. I've just had to get used to the whispers from the other side. When I need to use it for work, I listen in more closely. But I usually just try not to notice it.
Aren't you afraid of losing control?
Only losers who are afraid of their own gift lose control. Or idiots who never figure out what they are before it's too late. Or little kids who want to play around with their shiny new toy. If you don't know the limits of your abilities, or you're always bouncing around in your own head, that's a recipe for disaster.
What would happen if your door burst open?
Well, if the door opens, that means somebody's planning to come in, right? But screw them. They're not coming through. Trust me, I know how to keep my valuable head locked up tight.
How do you live with this whispering in your head?
Training, habit, and a little amasec and a couple other things you can get on the lower decks. If you put all those together, it makes things bearable. Sometimes I even wonder if I'm imagining half the voices I hear. You know, when life on board gets a little boring. Better than listening to the living, anyhow.
Can you see my future?
All right. That's what I'm here for, after all. So, I'm just going to lean on that door in my head a little more, prick up my ears, and listen to what the warp's got to say about you. If you'll allow it, I can listen right now.
Sure.
All right. Let's hear what they're whispering about you.
Adira laughs, rubs her hands together, and suddenly freezes with a vacant smile on her face, her head slightly tilted. You feel goosebumps appear on your skin, and your collar begins to waver ever so slightly, as if moved by a breeze from a half-open door.
Seek not on firm ground, but in a golden hall suspended in the void. There waits a child without kin, but with a name blind to truth. She draws the brush across the canvas and does not notice that her palette is full not of paint, but of blood. And with each smear, this well does not deplete, but fills and fills up to the brim. One thing is clear. When this vessel overflows, none will remain unstained. Among the blind men and false prophets, a red-robed sage seeks the answer to a question. He does not know that it is not the answer he must seek, but the question that will draw everything into focus. Will you help him, rogue trader? But mark that sometimes ignorance is sweeter than oblivion. A chained hound chases after glimmers of the aurora, but sparks in the scent of oil confound his nose. A chain trails after him. What will happen if you pick it up? Will you become his master, or merely another beast in the pack of his true lord? The glow of dawn bursts forth from its prison. Dungeon walls cannot contain the dark essence wallowing in the dust. A naive cub pushes his nose into a familiar hand, one that holds death in twisted glass. Cherish it or cast it off as a burden. The sword of change has already been raised. What is one more life to it? I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now...
I'd like to hear your augury, Adira. What awaits me in the future?
All right. Let's... I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now...
Did you know Theodora von Valancius well?
None of the officers knew the Lord Captain well, not even Abelard, and she was always closer to him than anyone else. She told me from the off if I ever listened to anything in the warp about her without her permission, I'd be going out through the airlock. I'm not an idiot, so I never stuck my nose where it didn't belong, only when I was asked. It's hard to wrap my head around the fact that she's gone. Lady von Valancius gave me everything I have. She opened the stars to me and the paths between them. I still think I can hear her voice.
Things are strained between you and Argenta, isn't that right?
The little sister is afflicted with her own set of voices. Ones that whisper to her about corruption and heresy. The silly girl doesn't realize that if she wants to find the source, she needs to start by looking in her own head.
Got a new story for me, Adira?
You bet I do, Lord Captain. Okay, so we went to Footfall once. Well, I mean, Lord Captain Theodora went to Footfall a lot. But on that occasion, she took me with her for some reason. My day had gotten off to a bad start. My head had been yammering since I woke up, but there was nothing else for it. I had to go. We arrived at the place, and what a place! All the gentlemen and ladies dressed to kill, showing off their encrusted implants, all clustered around little tables. Well, turned out it was a gaming den. And not just any gaming den, but one run by somebody with deep pockets for people with just as much cash to splash. You should have seen it. People gambling away planets in a game of regicide. Anyway, so the Lord Captain wanted me to help her beat some guy. So I tell her, the chips won't land in your favor. You'll get a bad hand. Don't sit down at that table, your ladyship. But did she listen? Of course she didn't. If there's one thing she never lacked, it's stubbornness. So they sat down and the cards were dealt. I'm hovering around like I'm not involved, but I'm keeping my eye on things. And everything in my head keeps getting louder and louder. Anyway, it's a good thing I realized in time that my mind wasn't going haywire over a losing hand, but something else. I made some excuse to drag the Lord Captain up from the table and took her away from that place. And a few minutes later, the room where we'd been... It turned out some wise guy had the same bright idea to bring a pet psyker along with him. One of those ones who just scuttle around in Footfall's underbelly. And the psyker just freaked out, I guess. After all the commotion, people went to see what happened in the room. And they'd all gone for each other's throats. Literally. With teeth. And I think they completely detached that asteroid from Footfall and pushed it off into open space so it would head off toward the local star.
I must take my leave.
Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
All right. I know there's some stuff on the other decks that we can do, but I think at this point it might be a good idea to actually sort of move on to some of the missions here. So let me just double check. So we've got Chapter 1, Looking for Trouble. A matter of utmost importance led the interrogator of the Inquisition, Heinrich von Kalox, to, the Reichad system. The rogue trader's duty as a loyal servant of the Imperium is to find the interrogator and aid him in his mission. Since his whereabouts are currently unknown, it may be easier said than done. So we can visit Reicade Philia, the prison planetoid in the Reichad system that may have caught the interrogator's attention. Make contact with the Navis Nobilite station. The navigator's abode could have been a plausible destination for an interrogator of the Ordos Xenos. The station's residents may tell the rogue trader if they are playing host to such a guest, and land on Reicad Minoris. The interrogator must have visited Reicad Minoris. Perhaps the planetary governor knows of his present whereabouts or planned course of action. Under errands, we've got new blood. Crew losses suffered during the cultist raid can be remedied on Rykad Minoris. Machine Spirit Keeper, the Void Ship requires a new Engiseer, which can be found somewhere in the system. And the Guide, the Void Ship needs a new Navigator. One may be found on the Navis Nobilite station. So I'm inclined to go for new blood because it's the one, like, you know, we have extra bodies. So actually, that's also appealing. So maybe Rykad, Urak, and then Philia. Lord Captain, Astropathic Choirmaster Zachary Weiss is asking to speak to you via a private channel. Greetings, your lordship. I can report that the choir is listening tirelessly to the Immaterium in the hope of picking up voices from the dynasty's ships or worlds. However, we have heard something horrifying instead. Amid the Immaterium's tumult, something is screaming. This scream is driving your choir mad. Until it stops, we have no hope of contacting any of the dynasty's worlds. It is coming from the Rykad system's astropathic station. Do not think we have been introduced. Indeed not, and we meet under lamentable circumstances. My name is Zachary Weiss, and I am proud to be the choir master of your ship's astropathic choir. The duty I perform is to keep you in contact with the Expanse via astropathic messages sent through the warp by trained psychers. What is the nature of this scream? We do not know, your lordship, but it has brought the Immaterium to a boil. It has always been a violent, roaring ocean that could spell doom to anyone who would consider stepping into its waters. Now, however, it has become a cradle of madness where expelled images fuse together, twisting and crackling before crashing into the minds of all who perceive it. A mighty warp storm, the likes of which I cannot recall, rages in the Imperium, and it fills me with terror. Cicatrix maledictum. A huge warp storm stretching across the galaxy, the result of a catastrophic rift in real space. The impact of the Great Rift can be felt throughout the entire cosmos, manifesting in anomalies of space and time, as well as in the intensification of other warp storms, which in turn can lead to the disappearance of previously known routes through the Immaterium. If the scream stops, will we be able to contact someone? I humbly hope so, your lordship. Perhaps we will manage to send a call for aid to the Von Valancius worlds or one of the dynasty's allies. We're going to pay a visit to that station. Thank you, your lordship. The psychic scream is coming from the astropathic station VX02537. The astropathic station is dead ahead of the Void Ship. It is motionless. There is lifeless silence across its vox frequencies. Its lights are out. Even those who have no warp sensitivity can feel the presence of death. It is here, lurking in the shadows. All of this makes reading the reports of the ship's astropaths, who claim to be hearing an incessant ghostly howl emanating from the station, all the more disturbing. Contact the station by Vox. The station is not responding. Perhaps there is no one left who could respond. Deploy a scouting team. The enforcers offered their prayers and proceeded to enter the uncanny station. What they saw inside was monstrous. Astropaths upon their thrones, not quite here, not quite now, smudged as it were across time. Servants reliving their horrible deaths again and again, only to be reborn out of ashes and blood into more agony a moment later. The warp manifested itself here, twisting the very nature of existence. The main hall was covered in a crust of psychic ice. A green-robed blind old man sat motionless upon a tall throne. He was quite literally embedded in the ice, yet he was still alive and screaming. Send Zachary Weiss to the station with a squad of bodyguards. Choirmaster Weiss boarded the station in person and proceeded to the choir's hall. He stood silently for hours in front of a man frozen in ice and held a telepathic conversation with him. Then Master Weiss offered a prayer to the God Emperor, and the unfortunate man passed away. Upon returning to the ship, Weiss reverently presented the Lord Captain with a grim trophy, the late Choirmaster's amulet, taken from his frozen body after his death. Denial of Nightmares. If worn by a Psyker, the wearer gains immunity from the horrors of the warp effect. Target will suffer -5 weapon skill, ballistic skill, willpower, strength, and -1 resolve per difficulty tier of the demon for 1 round. The psychic shriek carrying across the immaterium has been silenced, but this has brought the crew no relief. A chilling realization came to the astropaths when they discovered that the cry was masking a different sound, one even more terrifying and surreal. It was the melody of a cataclysm born from a warp storm of titanic power, so intense that the entire expanse must be able to hear it. It muffles astropathic messages and crawls into Psykers' minds, evoking everywhere the same image, a dark, gaping, beastly mouth cleaving the universe in two. Now that the mad choirmaster has finally stopped screaming, the song of the immaterium has reached the rogue trader's void ship too. Order the station to be explored. A brief and chilling chronicle of the station's doom was found in the scribe's records. A warp disturbance of monstrous proportions wiped out half of the choir at once, turning the astropaths into living portals through which torrents of the immaterium's energies poured out. Those who lasted longer bellowed and howled about a black rift that had split the universe into before and after, and a darkness that would devour the Astronomicon's light. Burn it all! Void torpedoes shatter the fragile station. One can only hope that the unfortunate souls captured by the warp have perished along with their home. The Vox crackles to life, and Master Helmsman Ravor addresses you. What we have here, Lord Captain, is not very noticeable, but there's a void ship sitting in the local asteroid field. It sure is quiet, like it's huddled up there on purpose. It's not like I'm surprised. The thing is more scrap heap than ship at this point. Somebody sure went to town on it. We are registering critical damage to the hull and depressurization of several compartments. Oh, there's an incoming transmission now, too. Parrot, the Vox transmission hisses and abruptly cuts to static. Do not require assistance. Pete, do not require assistance. Copy. The voice relays a different voice. Keep following. They'll pass us by, won't they? Or protects. Lord Captain, I am told our augurs cannot determine the allegiance of the vessel. To be brief, there is an unidentified and badly damaged vessel within an asteroid near the Raikadi Philia colony that is refusing help, which, not to put too fine a point on it, has not yet been offered to them. Ravor, can we establish communication? Let this vessel identify itself. Yes, Lord Captain. Connection is established. Unknown vessel, we are receiving you. Identify yourselves. I repeat, identify yourselves. For a brief moment, the Vox only hisses and snaps, and then several voices at once start shouting over one another. Do not tell him! We're done for! This is Thunderfang. We are... One of the voices falters uncertainly and is replaced by another. Merchant vessel, do you copy? We are a private merchant vessel. A merchant vessel? Of course they are. Damn my stupid head. Where did I hear that name before? Thunderfang. Ravor, damage report on the unknown vessel. Telemetry shows multiple hull breaches, most likely caused by the guns of a combat ship. Several compartments are leaking air. The bridge has almost been completely obliterated. 2 of the engines are critically damaged. Someone gave them a thrashing so solid they barely managed to limp away. Thunderfang, why can we not identify you? You can make out hoarse and furious whispering, even of the crackling of static. What? I don't know. What if... Certainly not. The whispering dies, and a clear, youthful voice cuts through the static. Our vessel is badly damaged. Damage is preventing the correct identification. We assure you, civil merchant vessel. Thunderfang does not require aid. Thunderfang, your vessel is badly damaged. What happened to you? The Vox responds by bursting into a cacophony of sounds, words, and emotions. Someone chuckles bitterly, another swears with some foul expletives, and yet another hisses, furiously demanding that the others shut up. You manage to make out little from all this noise. We're just minding our own business, straight out of the blue, open fire. Miracle we could get away, Emperor protected. And then more fire. Who? Void only knows. Roasted our tail, bombed everything. Our folks, are left without help. Never got to them. Thunderfang, now stop playing games and explain again what is your business here. This time, I highly recommend the truth. Happy now? What have you done? It's too late now. The Vox channel is again filled with the angry whispering of several voices. Whispers and static are drowned out by a clear and slightly frightened voice. Do you copy? We are from the Fellow of the Void. We did not come here to loot on a different business, to help our own out of jail. Do not hurt, please. We already had our chronos cleaned. How about striking a deal? Our hold is full of, I mean goods. In case you're unaware, Lord Captain, the Fellowship of the Void is a disorderly assembly of several dozen pirate factions in the Coronis Expanse. They consider themselves above regular heretics solely because they sometimes have Vox conversations with those whom they are about to board. Were it up to me, I would make them eat a salvo from the macro cannons to shake the scum loose from the decks. They certainly deserve it. The honeyed voice of the High Factorum interrupts the translation with a polite cough. I would wait on destroying the vessel if I were you. Though the moral aspects of their livelihood do cause some awkward questions, the Fellowship of the Void remains a major supplier of goods to the local market. Perhaps you will find dealing with them acceptable, especially in a situation where performing a warp jump is impossible. Thunderfang, prepare for commercial exchange. Right. I mean, I think we can just do buy all available if I'm not mistaken. Profit factor is a representation of the relative value of the rogue trader's warrant of trade and what opportunities and resources it can call upon. Yeah, that wasn't so hard. I wish I understood the cargo capacity a little better, but I don't know if I have a way of... I don't think I have a way of going to the... Well, you know what? Yeah, there's no search. The rogue trader can procure various items of interest from several factions in the Coronis Expanse. The key dealers you will encounter in the game are representatives of one of 5 factions: the Drusians, the Explorators, the Caspilica Mission, the Fellowship of the Void, and the Imperial Navy. The rogue trader will build business relationships with them over the course of the entire game. The game also features a number of small special merchants who are not affiliated with these 5 factions. You can improve your reputation with merchants by turning in full loads of various cargo. You do not need to spend any resources when purchasing items from merchants, but you do need to meet either one or both of the following conditions: a certain level of profit factor and reputation rank. Items can only be purchased when all of the requirements for doing so are satisfied. Starting from Chapter 2, the rogue trader will be able to contact merchants by speaking to the High Factorum on the Void Ship Bridge. Okay. I'm gonna try not to hoard stuff here. Yeah, okay, so this also kind of feels like maybe it's not going to let me hurt myself too much. Okay, on to Rykad Minoris. Dark and malign forces lurk beneath the fabric of the physical universe. The warp, a source of all psychic powers, is home to the forces of chaos, a malevolent and never mind. As the ship makes its way through the star system, a strange fatigue falls over you. Your eyelids grow heavy, and the quill you have been using to drop yet another order falls from your hand. You raise your head with a start. Someone else is here in your study. You stand up and stare at the dozens upon dozens of corpses surrounding you. Among their number, you recognize the disfigured and bloodied faces of those who died on the ship's bridge and those you met in your previous life. How is this possible? Where are the enforcers posted to stand guard? It matters not. You are alone against a horde of heretics risen from the darkness to take your life. As if of its own accord, the shard lying on the edge of the desk, the sole remnant of Conrad Voigtvir's weapon, slips into your hand. The metal is searing cold. The dead sway from side to side, closing in around you in a nightmarishly slow advance. Kneel before the rogue traitor. Your lives belong to me. All you hear in response is unintelligible voices, whispers, moans, and derisive laughter. Anger ignites your chest, and you clutch the shard, which ravenously bites into your palm with its sharp edge. An unbearably bright light floods everything around, and you find yourself surrounded by groveling minions, their bodies shivering in your mere presence. Your hand no longer holds a pitiful shard, but a majestic and intricate weapon. A skillfully crafted sword with strange, unnerving proportions, a curved design, and an unusual hilt adorned with the image of a closed eye. The eye opens wide, revealing a gaze so ancient and dark that it steals your breath away. You have felt this gaze before, there on the bridge, and the voice that appears in your mind only confirms your guess. The tapestry is woven, the path is chosen. Accept your fate, champion. Throw away the demon blade. Never! Your body refuses to obey your mind. The handle feels as if it has become one with your hands, and the gaze of the demonic eye sets your very soul ablaze. Resisting your fate is futile. You scream as you feel your soul burn away to ash. You awaken from the vision kneeling next to your desk, clothes drenched in sweat, and with a sour taste on your tongue. Your head is ringing, and you struggle to recall those faces and the image of the sword in your hands. Only the deep cut on your palm and the bloodied shard lying on the floor remind you of what has just transpired. Oh, quest failed, the call of the edge. You would rather die than touch that thing again, so you reach a shaking hand for your Vox and call for a servitor. You now just have to wait for the mindless automaton to arrive, pick up the cursed artifact, and head for the nearest airlock to be claimed by the void. Powerful warp entity promised the rogue trader might and power if he managed to become the new champion of chaos. The light glinting off the polished skull of some unknown Xenos makes it seem like the bony face is mocking you. The ticking of the chronos seems too quiet for its bulky size. The bookshelves are packed with ancient books, piles of papers, and tomes, many of which look rather worn. Should take a minute here so Adira can wear the necklace. Heavy leather armor. I don't see that as an improvement. Oh no, it is. Hard to say no to a flamer for a Sister of Battle. Okay. And I think the camouflage robe would be a good choice here. Positions of the pieces on the board suggest that this game of regicide was interrupted. The winner was never determined. The glinting of the displayed weapons is mesmerizing. You have never seen many of these articles before. This fine sculpture, made from a strange metal, seems to absorb any rays of light that fall upon it. This hefty tome contains schematics of the flagship of House von Valancius, in addition to a plethora of notes, copies of reports, and other documents. This majestic portrait, painted by a skilled artist, greets guests who have been granted permission to enter the Lord Captain's quarters. The coat of arms of House von Valancius is crowned with the text of the Oath of Rogue Traders, the Emperor's faithful servants. Bizarre fragment hung on a trophy board. The light, smooth surface of the object is dotted with dark spots and crumbling holes. Parlor organ with ivory keys yellowed by long service. Oh, I thought I was gonna play it. The long-dead eyes of this fierce monster forever capture the fear and pain of its final moments. Cracked data slate. Final transactions with the Chartist are complete. The Fiery Reckoning is now fully equipped. The object has been loaded aboard with its containment intact and placed in the forebay to ensure the maximum contact with the target, coordinates sent and received by the bridge, target's estimate time arrival in the system. The Fiery Reckoning is a crew by the servitor. Have chances, yeah. I'm not ready to change the appearance. Unfinished letter. His chagrin is irrelevant. Voigtvir's mistake cost me too much. Years of work, tremendous resources, all wasted. He has failed at what he was supposed to be irreproachable at, uncovering spies, and this one was a senior officer. I'm not about to discard him. Conrad has served me for too long for his removal to go painlessly for the Protectorate. Besides, he is no fool. He could not have seriously expected to become the next in the von Valancius line when his skills and talents as Master of Whispers are so valuable. Let his disinheritance serve as a humiliating but instructive lesson from which he may yet learn. Beyond the glass, the distant stars glimmer in the darkness of endless space, filling you with an odd sense of dread. Would you like to take a bath, your lordship? Well, sure, let's perform our ablutions. I mean, what do we buy the game for if we don't? Oh, damn. All right. I need a bath like this and apparently a like 5-course meal. And somebody to take a painting of me while I'm taking a bath? What? The soothing water caresses your senses, and your grateful muscles welcome the chance to rest. A present languor spreads through your body as you allow yourself a moment of quiet relaxation. Relax and close your eyes. The tension slowly retreats as you bring yourself to complete stillness, joint by joint, muscle by muscle, pore by pore. Before long, you have surrendered the bastion of your body to the bliss of oblivion. Troubles, worries, loss. Such things do not belong in this newly established dominion of tranquility. There are only the infinite waters of weightlessness, in which, stripped of all things superficial, the mind of Constantinos von Valancius drifts in silent bliss. Is it a conscious mind? What fills this consciousness? Thoughts of his monumental duty to the Emperor. Such duty can only be fulfilled through service and death, for such is the price of humanity's victory in the everlasting war. Thoughts of those who keep him afloat in these waters. Who will drown and who will he manage to pull to the surface? Thoughts about the price paid for power, the inconstant paths through which such power is obtained, and the people and things he will sacrifice for the sake of his supremacy. Emperor protects! The sacrifice of the many paves the way for a triumphant future for the Titan that is the protector of the Imperium. It is a heavy burden to be ground beneath his feet, but it is glorious to serve such a righteous purpose in unity. That is the purpose of an ablution, after all. The moment of serenity soon fades. The body reclaims the mind, binding it once more to the familiar shell of flesh, sinew, and bone. Address the enforcers. You two, get in here. I require company and pleasant conversation. I wish to see someone from my retinue. Which of them would you like me to summon, your lordship? Well, Argenta, obviously. Argenta, I wish to know what the Sisters of Battle do in their spare time. At once. Constantinos, are you conditioning your body with water treatments? How commendable. Allow me to share some of the water exercises I learned at the Schola Progenium. Argenta does not wait for a reply, but immediately launches into a series of detailed instructions. Perfect. Argenta briskly explains how to stretch your muscles correctly. She makes you repeat each exercise multiple times as she teaches you the best way to do bends and squats. Her eyes are alight with righteous fire, and her voice rings out with conviction. She shows the same dedication to completing each exercise as she does to destroying heretics. The sister is tireless. It is a challenge to keep up with her unrelenting pace, but you refuse to accept defeat. Your muscles are starting to ache by the time you finish the exercises, but your body feels invigorated. Argenta wipes the sweat from her brow with an air of satisfaction. Good work, Constantinos. Healthy body is like a finely tuned bolter, a worthy instrument of his will. I will take my leave now. Rest and recover your strength. So I'm actually kind of curious what happens if we bring the others here, so... Oh, no, I can't do that, so finish your ablutions. You feel revitalized. This was truly an experience worthy of a rogue trader. The water's calming murmurs and the warm steam feel inexplicably deceptive. A moment of weakness and rest promises nothing but danger. Begin the scan. Rykad Minoris added to the Worlds of the Expanse. Starport. Profit factor isn't spent on buying items, but serves as a simple prerequisite. If you have enough profit factor, you do not purchase the... Excuse me. If you have enough profit factor, you do not purchase the item. It will simply be yours for the taking. The starport greets you with a din of ordnance, and the smell of explosives tickles your nostrils. It is difficult to tell through the smoke who is firing at whom. Sergeant Malgar. Among the cracked rockcrete and bent plasteel, you notice a man in the warden's uniform. He stares at the gleaming gold of your shuttle in surprise. Did the governor send his personal guards? No matter. What are you standing there for, meat? Are you waiting for the rebels to blast your bucket again for good measure? The skies of the capital are blocked by enemy fire. All aerial traffic has been halted. What pest gave you clearance to deploy? By the saints, I'm Sergeant Malgar, and you lot report to me now. Straighten yourselves out and drag your arses after me. I'll map out a defense sector for you. At the end of his tirade, the sergeant's voice grows quieter and his eyes focus on your expensive gear. Abelard turns pale. By the Holy Throne, what is this mess? Idira glances around. They're in a rough spot, old man. Go easy on them. I am the rogue trader von Valancius. Give me a status report this instant. With a mixture of awe and terror, he snaps to attention, raises his freshly cut chin like an exemplary soldier, and barks. My mistake, sir. At once. The starport is under control of the governor's wardens. Perimeter commander is Sergeant... A frag grenade explosion cuts off the rest of the sergeant's words. Shrapnel flies everywhere with a piercing screech. One of the soldiers falls to the ground, clutching the remnants of his forearm that is now adorned with crimson tatters. Blood is pouring out of the stump, and the soldier's agony is short-lived. The sergeant curses and hastily says an army prayer for the dead. With a rasping cough, the sergeant turns back to you. Pardon me, sir. Sergeant Lassie Malgar reporting. My unit is holding the starport on the governor's orders. How may I serve? Some dirty dog nearly shot down my shuttle. Affirmative, your lordship, sir. It's all those damned rebels. Those maggots somehow got their hands on an anti-aircraft battery, and it's causing our shuttles no end of trouble. The thing really packs a punch. You're lucky they missed you. I've seen them fry 2 shuttles carrying reinforcements. Not a soul survived. What is going on here? Unrest, sir. Armed rebellions in both the capital and the provinces. First the lower levels sparked, and then it went up to the spires. They hit the Vox hubs, the arsenals, and the mag train stations. My unit was here when it all went to the Groxes. The tech priests linked to satellites reported sightings of strange void ships in the system. They were orbiting the star until one of them set course for landing on Rykad Majoris. The governor took precautionary measures and ordered to increase security at the key facilities. Everyone knows that whenever there's something not right, you'd better double the warden details. The alarm was raised and we were sent to secure the starport. It's the only reason we were able to hold it. There is fighting in the capital, but we're holding strong, giving no quarter to the rebels. The Emperor protects. The sergeant's voice is brimming with daring confidence. Who are you, anyway? Sergeant Lassim Algar, sir. 11th generation loyal soldier of House Winterscale. Awarded 3 commendations for faultless service. Ever since the olden days, his lordship, the rogue trader, has recruited soldiers and then shipwrights on Rykad Minoris, so there is no greater honor for a Rykadian than serving his lordship with diligence. What caused this rebellion? Ill thought, sir. We've fallen on hard times. The ground keeps shaking, things keep exploding, the people are scared. They've forgotten all about their duty, and that's when those, Emperor forgive me, preachers came. They started riling everyone up. Sure enough, we shot a few, but they just kept coming, more and more of them. Pat him on the shoulder. You are doing fine work, Malgar, and so are your troops. It's people like you that hold the Imperium together. I live to serve. The sergeant's eyes are gleaming with pride. His expression is that of genuine happiness. Do you happen to know if a member of the Inquisition has come through here? At the word Inquisition, the sergeant's face fills with awe. I don't know, sir. There definitely haven't been any visitors like that on my watch. You might have to inquire at the headquarters, your lordship, sir. I'm going to see the governor. If I may report, sir, as long as the rebels keep shooting their damned anti-aircraft battery, there is absolutely no way to shuttle you to the governor. It would have to be on foot, and the streets are dangerous. I have no one to send with you as an escort. I assigned all available troops to accompany the esteemed tech priest to the governor. I will voxcast orders to them to wait for you, and I'll inform headquarters. They better send out a convoy to meet you halfway. Meanwhile, we will follow the governor's orders and hold the line here. Idira frowns as her gaze grows distant, as if she is looking through the sergeant. You're a good soldier, but you've got a lot of blood on your hands, both yours and others. You know, the same hand that salutes now might falter in darkness. Rank and epaulets won't save you from the bitterness. Pardon me, my lady, but I can't get my head around these fancy words you're saying. I've seen plenty of blood, but trust me, I'll fight to my last drop. What tech priest? A very important person from the Adeptus Mechanicus arrived on the last shuttle before they locked down the sky. He kept on asking whether anyone by the name of Amarant or Amernat or something like that had recently arrived. Barely answered any of our questions, though. He said he was under no obligation to tell us anything. He demanded to talk to the governor personally, so I had to send a quarter of my troops with him to keep trouble at bay. Is the path ahead dangerous? What exactly awaits me there? Nothing good. The sergeant sighs heavily. Those bastards will shoot anyone walking the streets. Our own troops were ordered to fire without warning. You better move with caution, sir. On top of everything else, we mined the streets when we were pulling out. His remark about mines lodges itself in your memory. More than anything, you will need to watch the ground and not your surroundings. You'd rather risk a shot from a rebel or a jittery soldier than experience a full handfuls of lethal frag shrapnel resting on top of some 300 grams of explosive Feisline. You are a good soldier, Malgar. I will see that your heroism is noted. The sergeant blushes slightly. I live to serve. Another explosion interrupts the sergeant's words. With a sigh of relief, he turns to his soldiers and spits out a booming series of commands. On your travels, you will hear many rumors. Those of them that are deserving of the rogue trader's attention are logged in a separate section of the journal. Sometimes rumors are just that. Other times there is truth to them. And in some cases, there may be even more. To verify a rumor, travel to the place indicated in the rumor's description. While traveling the Coronis Expanse as the rogue trader, you are bound to hear rumors regarding your own deeds and exploits, some of which reflect the reaction of the Expanse's denizens to choices you have made.
Follow my lead.
Did you see that? They almost knocked us out of the air. Some bumbling idiot's going to regret that when he's dragged before the Lord Captain for questioning and trial.
I do not think the rogue trader should take a personal interest in a common crackpot. Summary execution will be sufficient.
Getting the loot first.
It's about time.
Okay. If I recall correctly, there is some combat pretty early on here, so I want to save before.
Heed your cries of mercy.
I'll bleed you dry.
Speeding up animations in combat. In combat, you can significantly increase the animation speed of your enemies and allies. To do so, hold the assigned key, space by default. In the options menu, you can enable this option to speed up animations automatically or disable it. Okay, so probably, I mean, it would be good to have everybody in cover, but in this case, Abelard at the front line for sure. Be nice if I can get some people behind cover, but... Ooh, all right. This will be character building, I think.
Let's get to it. I'm here, maggot.
Let's make it quick.
Scared yet?
Out of my way.
Why did I not foresee this?
Alright, Konstantinos is up first. I wasn't expecting that. So I should probably acquaint myself with my abilities again. So, you serve me! The noble assigns one ally who will become their servant until the end of combat. Anytime the noble's abilities affect the servant gains +5 to all characteristics until the start of the noble's next turn. Anytime the servant attacks a target that the noble dealt damage to last turn, the servant gains 16 critical hit chance against the target. Okay. I think I'm gonna do that for Argenta.
All too easy. Suits my purposes.
So no MP, but we can at least get some shots off. So I mean, I could also try the spray and pray. Not sure I'm crazy about the opportunities there, so...
I'll do it.
Oh, you know what I should have done first? I should have taken Konstantinos should have gotten a shot on the Bruiser Rebel before I did that. Probably wouldn't have done anything, but...
Nothing I can't do.
And I also should have moved. Okay.
God, Emperor,
I do need to make sure that I have cover.
be the fire in my heart.
I think at this point, run and gun... Or, hang on.
As
Yeah.
the Emperor commands, I act. Doubt is for the weak.
I think on this one, we're just gonna let her rip.
As the Emperor commands. Faith without a strike is a
Oh,
prayer.
that's awesome.
Show me what you've got.
Pain and duty go hand in hand.
So I feel like Adira, like, is ready to let her rip on these guys, but...
Let's get to it.
So then the question is, can I move Adira anywhere that means something? You know what? I can. This may be unwise.
I'm not so sure.
Oh, alright. That's why we do the preview. Okay, so looks like... So I have one of two options. I can either try for the cover but not be able to hit the ideal target, or I hide behind the partial cover. And I think
Anything else? Farewell.
it's pretty clear what my options are here. Okay, from that, let's do an analyze enemies on
No
the...
can do.
Oh, with no line of sight. Okay, might as well do it
Was
on
that
the
you?
easy target.
Or
I actually need to figure out how this works a little bit better. So analyze enemy, one enemy creature. Operative targets one enemy within line of sight. That target immediately gains 2 exploits. Expose weakness. The operative removes all exploits from the target, decreasing the target's dodge, parry, and armor by 15 plus exploits removed times 1%. until the start of the operative's next turn. So that would be decrease dodges by 17%. If this ability reduces the target's armor to 0, the operative removes only half the exploits from the target. I don't think it's telling me exactly what these little icons mean. Okay, I see it now. Yeah, let's go nuts. I was hoping I would. It says do a free attack,
Not
but
the scryer's job.
yeah, fair enough.
My place is at the fort.
Now my guess here is I can't charge my way to this. No. But I can brace for
Victory is
impact.
imminent. Indeed. Forth on Valencius. I took care of this one. I've seen worse battles than this in my time.
I was hoping I'd be able to do the cleave, but this is still pretty good for me. The bruiser rebel is going to be able to do some hurt, but being able to tie up the two melee guys in a fight like this works.
Here we go. Let's make it quick. Out of my way. Brace yourself, Abelard.
Okay, Konstantinos isn't really... I mean, I'm just going to have to deal with being at risk here. I don't have line of sight. I don't have line of sight to anybody.
Not a problem for me.
And presumably bring it down. Oh, we get to do that.
All too easy.
As the Emperor comes.
I'll take it. But right now we're too far away from anything effective, so I am going to put Argenta in sort of harm's way here. I mean, my alternative would be to spray him down, but I don't think that's the right call. I could also just try and eliminate the rebel gunner like this, but...
Doubt is for the weak.
Okay, nice hit, but not enough to seal the deal.
Follow my lead. Greg Demerol.
Okay, I think I know how I'm going to handle this. Okay, alas, we need to put some of my people at risk.
I know what is to come. What an unfortunate turn
Shield
of
us
fate.
from this witchcraft.
Okay, so this time I think I need to
Will
do
do.
forewarning on myself just because I'm exposed here. And we've only got one
Anything
person
else?
I can do this on, so... Now, Abelard's a pretty easy one to sort out here.
It will be done.
Wow! We did not seal the deal on that.
At your beck and call. My ears ring.
High momentum.
I will do my duty. Let's get to it.
This is going to be a bit of a pain to try and close the distance for. Alright, I can live with this, although realistically I should be trying to augment... Dope!
Nothing I can't do. Not a problem for me.
Well, not enough. Ugh, we don't get any of that. An officer grants an ally a yeah, okay, we're definitely gonna do.
My time is now.
Okay, this works for me. And we're gonna
Guided
do
by faith.
run and gun.
As the Emperor.
I still don't like the odds on this, so
I'll do it.
should double check this. Revel in slaughter.
As the Emperor commands, I act.
Okay, not a bad turn. We get to do another one. I should probably be moving cover to cover, even if they're not ideal, just because presumably... Oh yeah, the numbers are
Faith
better.
without deeds is worthless. Eradicated. Doubt is for the weak.
Okay, so the real question here is whether or not Adira is going to be able to seal the deal. That could be a range thing, so if we put her right beside... Yeah.
They who discern the future own the battlefield. That is not my destiny. But of course,
Probably didn't do myself any favors by putting her in the protected position, but...
A tactically sound approach.
I imagine we're not going to be able to cover the distance here, yeah. So...
It will be done. Victory is imminent.
Hold on.
So I have my doubts as to whether or not Konstantinos is going to add anything meaningful here, but... It would be kind of nice if I had an idea of like who has a
Suits my purposes.
who has line of sight.
As the Emperor commands, none can escape the Emperor's judgment.
But we got
The
it.
Emperor sets my path.
All right, I will confess that was not as painful as I was expecting it to be. Oh Lord. I should take a minute here and see. So yes, the armored body glove is the same for everyone. That's not an improvement. That's the same. Funny thing is, I've got a sword equipped. Hmm. We won't add the character's armor to the cargo, but yeah, so I mean, I suppose if it really comes down to it, we can... Oh yeah, here we go. So, Mizoa pattern sword. I mean, it's better than the chain sword. Although... better... Yeah, so, I mean, does more damage, but... I don't think I need the las gun. Okay, I'm okay doing a couple of adjustments here. You never know, right? I'm hoping there isn't some sort of like penalty for dual wielding I'm unaware of.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Okay, so before we go too much further, I'm just gonna loot. I know it's been a little more quiet here. I know I've been doing a lot of the dialogue, but I am curious how people are finding the game now that we're... My eyes, my eyes! Have you got them? Please just give them back to me, even just one. I am a little curious how people are finding the game now that we're in some of the more of the substance.
Stand in my way.
Should also take a minute here before we wind up in combat again. We had a pretty good round there, but I don't want to assume.
I did fine.
Written on the side of the shuttle in pilot's lowly slang are the words, "Do not touch, a shipment of tithes to the blessed Lord Captain Caligos Winterscale. Perhaps there is something worth your attention in this shuttle." Mine now. Whenever the wearer hits a target with shield bash, double slug, fulminating shot, or grisly adjudication, they make a coercion test with a -40 penalty. If the wearer succeeds, the target is immobilized. So as cool as that sounds, I don't believe I have any of those abilities. And then the Commander Cloak increases the range of all officer archetype abilities by +1 cell. This is actually a tricky one for me, because the Rogue Trader's Cloak with extra fellowship for each enemy in a 2-cell radius is something that does enhance the powers I'm using, but I'm probably going to be engaging at a distance. So I suppose the question is, do I want the extra range or do I want the fellowship bonus? For now, I think I'm going to settle for the fellowship bonus, but I will consider this one, let's say. Goodies. You know what? Let's not just go running off on our own like that.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Folks, how about you don't come any closer and I don't shoot you? Gain true vision, renounce false sight, all will be revealed. The young, shaggy-haired soldier is still pale. Nonetheless, as you approach, he holsters his pistol, the hallmark of good discipline. He gives you a somewhat frightened but genuine smile. Thank you, my lord. You arrived in the nick of time. I don't know what those babbling creeps wanted with me, but it definitely wasn't anything good. Are you unharmed, soldier? All thanks to you, my lord. Those blind lunatics are all over the city right now. These rebels, damn them to the void, go around maiming anyone they can get their hands on and scorching their eyes. Then they leave the poor sods driven mad by the pain to wander the streets babbling nonsense. He lowers his voice and adds with gravity, the command doesn't want anyone to talk about it, but I've heard whispers that it's not just some nonsense. It's heresy, actual heresy. Because listening to it scrambles your brain. It made one patrolman freeze in his tracks while the blind mob got a hold of him and carried him off his post to who knows where. Who are you? Lucky Jaspar, the governor's aide and personal Vox operator. I was dispatched to the starport on special orders, the young man proclaims, desperately trying to tame his tousled hair. And what exactly were you doing here on your own? Following Governor Medene's special instructions, namely, he grits his teeth with a pained expression, furrowing his brow. Oh, right, it's a secret assignment. I can't talk about it. What if what you know is priceless intelligence, and you were to die before you could relay it to anyone? Well, that would make me a saboteur and a traitor, wouldn't it? Yes, you're right. This is an emergency. He looks relieved. So why did they send you to the starport? I'm supposed to deliver updated Vox codes and, how should I put it, assess the situation. The planet is a real mess at the moment. The rebels have found their way onto our VoxNet and are now eavesdropping. This made proper communication impossible. The hallowed electrodynamic Cenobium had sent out a distress call before it went dark. And who even knows what's happening in the system? There's been a riot on Rekadi Phila, the prison planetoid. Urak 5 station is silent, although the navigators there have always been a reclusive bunch. I was hoping I'd be lucky enough to run into a pilot or captain here who could give me an update, but that's hardly a possibility right now. The rebels are blasting anything that tries to land out of the sky with their damn cannon. He stops talking, a little too abruptly. There's something else you're hiding from me, isn't there? More classified secrets? Jaspar looks away. It's nothing classified, just personal. There's another reason why I'm here. My betrothed is missing, Rakal Vikari, the esteemed Evane Winterscale's personal pilot. When the riot reports came from Rakadi Philia, Lord Evane headed there personally, and this rebellion started down here, and we lost communication. No one knows how they're doing up there. You know what I'm afraid of? That they'll come back and those rebel scumbags will shoot them out of the sky. I wanted to find a place that's high up and set a Voxcaster there and send them a transmission. The sky is closed off, don't try to land. But I didn't make it in time. Those blind dogs chased after me, and as I was running, I tripped and broke the caster. He hangs his head sadly. I worry for her. She's an excellent pilot, but I still worry. Abelard shakes his head disapprovingly, but his eyes are understanding. That is why all members of a Void Ship clan share the same employment. No matter how devoted a servant of the Emperor is to their duty, there is always the danger that family ties might disrupt regulations and order. I hope that no harm comes to her. The Emperor protects, my lord. If someone you love is in trouble right now, may he protect them too. Tell me about Urak 5. There's not much anyone can tell you about it. The station belongs to the Navis Nobilite themselves. Emperor knows what they're doing up there, or who even lives there. They scorn ordinary folk. The only person they're willing to grace with an audience is the esteemed Evane Winterscale. It's beginning to sound like he's complaining. That place is creepy. They say they order shuttles with servants from Rykad Minoris on a regular basis. I guess they're too important up there to change filters and clean compartments themselves, huh? Except I've never met anyone who's served there. It's like no one ever comes back. Who is Evane Winterscale? the esteemed and honorable scion of a blessed rogue trader Caligos Winterscale, master of the Rycat system. At the behest of his illustrious father, or grandfather, or uncle, well, his illustrious relative, Lord Yvain took up residence on Rycat Minoris. Jasper's face betrays a fierce inner struggle before he bursts out. You know what I think? I find it curious that blessed Caligos didn't make him ruler of our world. Lord Yvain is his blood, but it's the governor who rules us. And why do you think he sent him here? I think he's been exiled. Do you think the governor can handle the rebellion? Jaspar mumbles evasively. Well, obviously, I'm not some pessimist to say otherwise. I won't tell anyone. You really won't? Well then, if you ask me, things are pretty rotten. His words come flying at the rate of stubber fire. Those rebels are strange. We would have easily quelled a normal riot, but we're not some commoners. We're Rykadians, the naval elite of House Winterscale. Those people? They're vicious. They know no fear. And their attacks, they're so precise. It's like they know what's going to happen ahead of time. The command executed 7 officers on suspicion of espionage, but it's not about spying. They say the leader of the rebels is some two-faced Aurora who can see into the future. Now she is the real danger. Adira scoffs and rubs her hands together in excitement. She can see into the future, is that right? We'll see about that. She's up against the wrong psyker. My breezy whispers may be vague, but they've not failed me once. I can tell you, without asking my ethereal friends, that her future doesn't look too bright now that the Lord Captain is involved. I'm looking for an interrogator of the Inquisition who may have arrived on this planet. Have you heard anyone matching that description? Jasper's face quickly turns gray as he says, I have, but I don't know where he is now. I'm sorry, but I don't like discussing the affairs of the Inquisition. I have no more questions. It's my pleasure to be of service to you, my lord. It's been nice to chat to someone normal. He glances warily at the body of the nearest blinded lunatic. I must take my leave. You're right. We shouldn't stay here or we might turn into rebels. I'll go find a safe place to watch the sky for any landing shuttles. May the Emperor protect you, my lord. Does that find autosave? Okay, that's good. I don't want to commit too many, like, set saves, but I do also want to make sure I'm not having to redo large sections. That's a lot of guys.
Die quickly.
Are you ready to die?
Okay, I definitely have a plan for this. It's tempting, but I still need the...
I'll do it.
Okay, honestly, none of these are really great
As the Emperor
opportunities, so
commands, I
let's
act.
Oh, I should have thought that through.
I'll do it. Strike is a prayer. Doubt is for the weak eradicated.
That was a pretty good round of that. You
Nothing I can't do.
serve me.
All too easy. Not a problem for me.
As the Emperor commands, I act.
Okay. I don't have like all that many opportunities here, but
Let's get to it. My faith strengthens me.
It cleanses the body.
okay, so the hope here is that I'm going to be able to use the light. Yeah. So this is a pretty straightforward choice. From there,
Anything else?
I don't know, I'll impose what I can.
On it.
Time to slaughter someone.
Aim and duty go hand in hand. Weapon at the ready. I'll revert to more conservative tactics.
This will be bad if we lose him. Fortunately, he's next, so one thing I'm unclear on is if I heal myself, if that's an attack of opportunity.
The healing is much appreciated.
Okay.
It will be done.
Yikes.
No matter the cost. I will do my duty. It will be done. Indeed. Reduced to dust.
I feel like I did a lot more damage when I
It will be done.
when I just had this solo weapon.
Tried and tested tactics are the best ones.
I'm sure I'm imagining it.
Let's make it quick. I've suffered worse.
Okay. How brave do I want to get with this? It's like one option would be mow him down like this. The alternative is we try and go for the commander. You know what? You only YOLO once.
Faith without deeds is escaping Emperor's judgment.
Okay. Clearly, I've got to get out of here if I'm gonna... If there's no chance of me hitting. I'll confess, I don't actually believe that number, but like, what am I gonna do, right? So...
I shall not fear.
Yeah, so the odds are slightly better. I'm gonna take my chances on this one. Okay.
Suits my purposes.
As the Emperor commands, strike his
Nice.
prayer.
Follow my lead.
Failed me.
High momentum.
Okay, that's gonna hit her as well. Presumably I can position myself to a better opportunity. Yeah, let's see what happens there.
Foreboding? Will do. No can do. anything else?
Was insulting.
Stay vigilant.
All right, this will get a little interesting.
My place is at the fore. One new attack.
Nice.
At your beck and call.
All right. I mean, we were hopeful, but
It will be done.
Doubt is for the weak. Power resides in the will of the righteous. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it. Doubt is for the weak.
okay. We'll start by letting Argenta do her
I'll do
thing.
That is not the Emperor's will. I refuse. As the Emperor commands, I act.
Ah, that was almost enough. So this one, I think we just
Nothing I
spray and
can't
pray.
watch and learn.
Cover me! Farewell.
Cool. So presumably it's the commander next.
But of course. Was that you? Or
Follow my lead.
I will endure.
Bad luck.
Indeed.
Faith without deed eradicated.
Never wavered in the face of adversity. We shall prevail.
So, I will say, for the most part, I think I've actually been performing much better than I normally do on the combat. I am going to remove the secondary weapons. It might be superstitious, but it does actually feel like we're less effective. And of course now we loot the crap out of everything. Those seem like they would be useful. Skirmisher boots. Whenever the wearer deals damage to an enemy, the wearer has a 25% chance to gain 2 MP. That seems good for my frontline guy. I don't quite need to spend a Melta charge yet. You have found a consumable item. Grenades, stimulants, medkits, and other consumables can be placed in quick access slots. To do this, double-click on such an item or drag it to a highlighted slot by holding the left mouse button. Each consumable item has a certain number of uses, which is indicated in the item's description. On that note, I do believe Abelard has already used up his medkits, so... Tear down the door with the sacred loader.
Done.
The drums exude a caustic smell of promethium. Thank you. Thankfully, the rebels have not yet reached them and set this place ablaze.
I rise to the occasion.
Oh, light flak armor. Okay, let's see if we can improve any of our people with that. All right, this is actually good. So this is definitely an improvement over the armored body glove. It would be tempting to put this on Abelard, but I don't know, like looking at the numbers, reducing damage by, or reducing the damage reduction, let's say, by 20% doesn't feel right there. I suppose technically this is a more appealing armor for Idira to wear because she does actually have a melee attack. And then presumably this is not... Huh. I am going to give this to Idira, but I'm going to feel a little bad about it.
A new challenge for me?
We should deal with this.
The turret was placed in a great hurry, but the Technomat never had the chance to activate it. Also, I have... Oh, okay, we just got it. I was going to say, I have no idea how long I've been ready to go for a level. There is a trap up ahead. Order your character to disable it. If a character enters a trapped area or fails to the test to disarm it, the trap will trigger, dealing damage and inflicting injuries on all characters within its area of effect. Sometimes you will see a trap marked with a red area and a connecting dotted line. This line leads to the mechanism that controls the trap. Hover your cursor over the mechanism. If the cursor changes to a trap icon, the trap can be disarmed by interacting with the mechanism. Click the left mouse button on the mechanism to attempt the disarm test. If you have your entire party selected, the character with the highest relevant skill score will go to disarm the trap. If the trap is marked with a red area without a dotted line, simply approach the trap and click on it to disarm, to attempt the disarm test. So, most of the time when I do this in games, a character, I'll say like, okay, go disarm this thing, and a character then proceeds to walk into the trap that they're supposed to disarm.
To the stars.
Cast your eye there. Never doubt me.
Yeah, you know what, we might as well get the ranks. Oh boy. I'm usually going for the improvements list here. So we've got Blood of Martyrs. Whenever an ally uses a heroic act, that ally gains temporary wounds equal to 10% of their maximum wounds plus 8. Commanding Voice. The range of the officer's abilities is increased by 3. The range of Voice of Command is increased by 6. Tempting, but I think we can fix that with positioning. Whenever the officer targets an ally with an ability for the first time in a round, the ally gains 4 temporary wounds. Personal Oversight. Whenever the officer targets an ally with an action, an ability, or an attack, that ally's resolve is increased by +1 until the end of the officer's next turn. This effect stacks and is prolonged until the end of the officer's next turn each time it stacks. And Steel Resolve, the officer's resolve is increased by 3. Okay, so I guess at this point I need to see what resolve is. Resolve influences how efficiently and for how long characters can fight in battle. It determines the amount of momentum gained at the beginning of each turn or after killing an enemy. So I'm going to do Personal Oversight just because I do think I tend to do quite a few abilities. And I am most inclined towards Fellowship at this point, because that's where all the bonuses come from. Okay, so we've already got Endure, so my recommendations are Reckless Strike. The warrior's next melee attack gains 20% armor penetration and +8 damage and ignores 12% of the target's parry. Every enemy who survives an attack enhanced by this ability will attack the warrior in return, including creatures with ranged weapons. And sworn enemy, the warrior marks a target, gaining 22% armor and 6 damage on melee attacks against the target. If the target attacks the warrior during this round, the warrior gains 1 AP. That sounds like a pretty good one to get. And then I suppose the question is, do we go athletics or carouse? Carouse is tempting because of the toughness improvement. Yeah, I think we'll go for carouse now because I think there is an upper limit. Okay, for my operative, we've got Fresh Target, which is very tempting. Whenever this operative attacks an enemy that is at full wounds, the attack deals 18% more damage to the enemy. And obviously, if we do something like that Chain Lightning, that can be really strong. Instant Exposure. Expose weakness costs 0 AP, although presumably I can only do that once. Operative removes all exploits from the target, decreasing the target's... Yeah, okay, fair enough. Tide of Excellence. Whenever the operative triggers an exploit on an enemy, the operative gains +1 damage and 2 armor penetration until the end of combat. Only applies to the first strike or projectile in a burst attack. Stacks. Man, both of these are tempting. I'm going to start with Fresh Target, but I can see Tide of Excellence being the next one. And tricky question, do I go for the Intelligence or Perception? So Intelligence... 5% more damage for non-burst ranged area attacks. Perception describes how well the character perceives their surroundings. Characters with high perception can pick out a stray bolt or shell casing between the day-to-day morass of an underhive, or even tell when someone's being deceitful. I didn't feel super good about that, but I'll raise the floor for the ones that I don't have a direct story for. Kind of feel we need to invest in the ballistic skill for the shooty lady. So we can do Controlled Shot. The soldier gives a sign that they are about to open fire. The soldier and their allies will automatically dodge the soldier's next attack, or dash. The soldier immediately dashes in the selected direction, spending all their movement points. Does not provoke attacks of opportunity, allows the soldier to dash through allies and enemies, but not through obstacles. I mean, I also can do the ones that are not recommended, but let's do dash here. Mobility is pretty good for a character like this.
The Emperor favors me today.
Now, if I recall
better myself through my service
correctly, the insurgents walked in a crowd right across the mine barriers, seemingly oblivious to the fear of death. If I recall correctly, we meet a new character in this area, and I have 7 minutes left for the stream duration, so I think I'm going to call it here. I am a little curious, though. I know it was quite a bit more quiet this time around, which I don't mind. I'm always happy to see you folks in here, or also possibly just oops, sorry. It's also, you know, nice to just have people watch rather than sort of hang out directly. But I could definitely use some feedback as to whether or not this is something people would like to see more of. I'm definitely willing to put the time in on the for the game, but there's a number of different ways that I can do that, up to and including VOD. So if you're watching this on YouTube, let's say, and you'd like to see more of this, but you aren't too married to the idea of seeing it live, that's useful feedback for me. Also, if you normally like watching this live, but you didn't get a chance, I mean, there's any number of ways that you can communicate that. I also don't mind, as long as it's sort of said respectfully, or not. It's the usual thing, right? Like, people generally like getting feedback as opposed to like a command, or if it's something solicited, obviously that's a little bit better than if it's unsolicited. But yeah, if I don't necessarily mind hearing if a given game doesn't work for people. There's definitely a distance between things that I really like, but don't always work well. So a good example here would be, I know a lot of people like saying they like hearing me read stuff, but if I take a look at the YouTube videos for Gulliver's Travels, there's not that many people watch them. And for me, I don't mind that. I do, I really liked doing, Gulliver's Travels. So for me, that is as good of a reason for me to, to do that. But I also don't want to spend, I don't want to like do a whole week of things which are just for me. So anyways, that's a very long way of saying I am open to feedback on this if it works for you. I am, however, going to host someone, and I actually noticed that Elkanu is live tonight, so he may not be live for that much longer, but I don't get a chance to raid him very much. So I'm going to do the raid message here. I just want to let some of you know that Elkanu, a wonderful broadcaster, but he is a French broadcaster. So for some of you, this will be quite different from what you were expecting. However, I do encourage you to stick around. He's very, very nice. He is able to speak English, but he is a French broadcaster, and so naturally I want to try and, I want to try and match the language where I can. But he is very good in terms of nonverbal communication. He's got a good camera presence. He's a very friendly guy, plays a lot of retro games, and so I actually feel good rating him. So anyways, I hope you all have a good evening. Just a reminder, Wednesday, I believe, there's the local game dev meetup. So even though it's my birthday, I normally like to stream on the birthday. I will probably do a follow-up, I will say most likely on Thursday. I don't see myself doing a stream tomorrow. I will take a quick minute here to shout out the lovely Revived Snow who's in chat. I don't have that much more time for it. Please do check out Revived Snow's channel. But yeah, I will try to be back for Thursday if I can, and then we will definitely be back for Friday on the regular schedule. Still not 100% sure on the game though, so I've got 6 seconds. Enjoy Elkanu. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.